In Douluo, all the goddesses collapse. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151, Women's Competition. On the stage, the second martial spirit that Suruoxi displayed was unexpected by Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrong, and Zhu Zhuking. When they reacted, Xiao Wu found herself surrounded by the opponent's wings and could not move. These countless feathers actually have the effect of imprisonment. Looking at Xiao Wu imprisoned by the wings, Zhu Zhuking's face changed and her figure turned into a residual shadow and changed direction. She no longer attacked Li Lingling, but wanted to help Xiao Wu first. Otherwise, if Xiao Wu fell, the original advantage between the two sides would become a polar reversal. 5th soul skill, Green Phosphorus Poison Pool. Du Guyan had been waiting for this moment, and the 100,000-year soul ring on her body also burst into dazzling light. Zhu Zhuking, who was originally rushing towards Xiao Wu, felt a surge under her feet, which made her pupils condense, and she subconsciously jumped back. After standing still and looking, she saw that the place where she was just now was no longer a piled stone surface, but a large poison pool. The poison pool was deep green, and bubbles could even be seen constantly emerging from it. Just one glance, you can tell what kind of terrible poison it contains. But before she was shocked for too long, she felt some strange sound coming from her feet. Looking down, she was shocked again. The black high-heeled shoes made a sizzling sound, and wisps of black smoke rose up, which was very choking. Obviously, the shoes were accidentally stained with some liquid from the poison pool. This poison actually has a corrosive effect. Zhu Zhuking was very shocked. Zhuking, be careful. At this time, Ning Rangrong shouted again. Zhu Zhuking, who was shocked, quickly came back to her senses and found that the scope of the poison pool was rapidly expanding and had come to her. Without thinking, she jumped back again and again until she was out of the range where the poison pool stopped expanding, and then she stopped. However, at this time, she, who was wrapped in Ning Rangrong, was completely depressed. A large area of poison pool appeared on the original ring, like a swamp, dividing the ring into two, limiting her range of activities. The most important thing is that let alone wanting to rescue Xiao Wu, even her own actions are very limited. It's really exciting. I thought that Shai and our royal team too would be completely passive next. I didn't expect that contestant Suruoxi actually had a second martial soul. With the cooperation of Du Guyan, she completed the reversal in one fell swoop. Now Shrek's contestant Xiao Wu has been besieged. The situation is critical. Can she withstand the combined attack of the two Soul Kings? Dao Dao was the first to react. He picked up the microphone in his hand and ignited the climax of the whole audience, making the audience stare at the scene, afraid of missing any details. Invincible golden body. Xiao Wu's huge energy fluctuations emanated from her body, surrounded by a layer of pink mist. With a click, the wings that were originally imprisoned broke free under the pressure of her terrifying energy. Invincible golden body. This is the strongest defensive skill unique to the soft bone rabbit. This skill can make Xiao Wu immune to all physical attacks below the god level within 3 seconds, and double her strength. In a sense, it can be called absolute defense. After all, this is just a Soul Master Elite competition. Where will there be beings above the god level? As Xiao Wu broke free from her wings, she attacked Du Guyan again the next second. She had little soul power left, and she had to take advantage of the time she could use it once to kill the opponent. However, Du Guyan would not sit still and wait for death. The energy emitted by the opponent was extraordinary, and she could not resist it now. Moreover, she also determined that it would not last too long, so she did not confront it head-on, but kept dodging the opponent's attacks. Seeing that Xiao Wu had already used the invincible golden body, and Du Guyan was smart and only knew how to dodge, Zhu Zhuking was very anxious. She naturally knew that Xiao Wu seemed invincible now, but it could only last for a few seconds, and it would disappear completely after a few seconds. She had to do something to join in. Otherwise, when the invincible golden body ended, Xiao Wu would be in danger. Zhu Zhuking's pupils swept across the huge poisonous pool in front of her, and she gritted her silver teeth, and the fourth soul skill, the Nether Shadow clone, appeared. 4 clones that looked exactly like her appeared, and then quickly gathered together, with their hands crossed. Her original body quickly took a few steps back, then ran quickly, stepped on the crossed hands of the 4 clones, and the 4 clones lifted up at the same time, using the force to throw Zhu Zhuking over. Feathers flying all over the sky. Suruaxi, who had been paying attention, saw Zhu Zhuking rushing towards her from the air, and responded immediately. Her bad spirit spread its wings, and countless feathers turned into feather blades, attacking Zhu Zhuking in the air. Oops. Looking at the countless flying wings, Zhu Zhuking secretly cried out in her heart that it was not good. She was now in the air, without any leverage, and could not dodge at all. She could only bite the bullet, and her 10 fingers turned into sharp claws, sweeping towards these feather blades. But there were too many feather blades, making her overwhelmed. There were always feather blades that missed and scraped on her body, and some bloody scars appeared instantly. Looking at the scene in the stands, Wu Crossing's mouth twitched a few times. Do you need to fight so hard? It seems that they are injured, but it hurts my heart. If they continue to fight like this, who knows what the result will be. But now he is powerless, and can't intervene directly. After this competition is over, they will all be punished by family law. It's just a game. Is it really that important? Of course, he doesn't know that women have their own persistence in their hearts, especially when they are still around him. They don't want to admit defeat. After landing successfully, Zhu Zhuking already had many scratches on her body, but she didn't even frown. She stepped down suddenly and quickly joined the battle. In an instant, various soul skills collided with soul skills. Various bodies came into contact with each other, and they fought each other. Except for Yilingling and Ningrangrong, everyone was injured. Even if the soul power was exhausted, and the most primitive fight was launched, there was no intention to stop. Although the fighting between women, not the modern kind of fighting, don't confuse them, was very pleasing to the eye, Wu Crossing could no longer bear it. If he didn't stand up, these women would rebel. Without thinking too much, he sent a message on the diary panel, asking them to stop immediately, so that it would be a draw. After another round of fighting, the 4 women pulled away, panting, beads of sweat dripping from their foreheads, but their eyes were extremely determined. However, when he wanted to attack again, Yilingling and Ningrangrang's voices rang out at the same time. Stop. Chapter 152, Girls in Love. With Wu Crossing's intervention, the last 2 teams ended in a tie. If he hadn't come forward, there was no doubt that the women would have been exhausted and lying on the ring, and then it would have turned into a battle between Yilingling and Ningrangrang. And Dao Dao seemed to understand something. As the auxiliary soul masters of both sides admitted defeat, he quickly cooperated with the 2 women to announce a tie. Although the scene of a tie rarely appears, it is not unacceptable, so everyone is not unacceptable. They even think that the 3rd game is too exciting, which directly raised the audience's expectations. When they returned to the spectator seats from the ring, they were originally worried about being scolded, but they found that Wu Crossing was surrounded by a group of beautiful women. In an instant, they all felt jealous, especially Du Guyan and Ningrangrong, whose mouths were about to rise to the sky. As for the members of Shai and our royal team too, they were all dumbfounded at this time. How did Wu Jie do it? Why are there always so many beauties around him? Who is that guy? He's so awesome. Huo Wu from Zhutian Academy, Shubinga and Shujua from Shai and Shu Academy, Meng Yiran from Yashao Academy. I was so surprised. All those girls on the field just now have gone. Although the 3rd game has ended, and the 4th game has begun, many people's attention is still on the 6 girls, who have left the field. Only then did they realize that there was a group of girls in the audience, who were not very good looking, circling around a boy. Ahem. Okay, let's stop here for the offline meeting. Wu Crossing waved at the enthusiastic girls. These girls were really too enthusiastic, especially Shujua, the little dolphin, who was almost ready to take action. If Shubinga, Huo Wu, and Meng Yiran were not there, he had no doubt that the other party would have attacked directly. Then thank you, brother Wu Crossing. The girls noticed Suruoxi and others who were walking over here and left with satisfaction after a laugh. Anyway, the friends have been added and the fairy grass has been purchased. There is no need to compete with the other party's women and get jealous. After they left, Wu Crossing turned around and looked at Suruoxi and the other girls. Are you done? Wu Crossing said slowly. Hearing this, Suruoxi and Xiao Wu were slightly shocked, as if they were children who had done something wrong, and they lowered their heads and dared not look at their men. Du Guyan and Ning Rangran curled their lips. This big bad guy, big pervert, would bully them. Not only did he pick up girls here, but now he blamed them. Although they thought so in their hearts, the two girls knew what their men meant and did not want to see any of them get hurt. Even if it was just a competition, even if it was just a minor injury, they were still very sweet about it and humbly accepted each other's criticism. It's just a competition. You can't do this in the future, otherwise you will be punished by the family rules. Wu Crossing scolded with a stern face for a few words before giving up. He also knew that the girls cared too much about him, which led to a fight to win. Yeah. The girls nodded when they heard it. Just thinking of the family rules, Suruoxi, Du Guan and Yilingling's faces did not even blush. Xiao and Ning Rangran did not understand and thought that the family rules were just being whipped with a stick, like hitting the palm of the hand or spanking the buttocks. Seeing that they understood, Wu Crossing did not say anything, but treated ZHU Zhuking's injuries and watched the live broadcast with the other girls. Sister Huao, who is that boy? Feng Xiaoshan saw Huao coming back, and his heart could no longer be restrained, and asked nervously. When he heard Huao say that she was going to find her boyfriend just now, his heart almost broke to the ground, but then he saw that Shubinga and her sister from Shrek Academy also went to find each other, and he recovered. The three elemental academies, Chihuo, Shu, and Shenfeng, were all established in the Element City. They often exchanged ideas with each other and were familiar with each other. With Shubinga's personality, it was absolutely impossible for her to play with Huao. Obviously, there was something he didn't know. Although Huo Washang did not ask, his eyes were fixed on his sister. He was also very curious about who the man was who was surrounded by many beauties, and even the girls from the Xiandao second team and Shrek Academy went to see him after the game. Didn't I tell you, my boyfriend? Huo Wu replied unhappily. If Feng Xiaoshan had asked about it in the past, she would have been furious, but since she had just added the diary owner as a friend and bought the fairy grass, she was in a good mood and did not get angry. Huo Wu's words immediately choked Feng Xiaoshan and also made Huo Washang and other members of the Chihuo Shenfeng Academy drop their jaws. After a moment, Huo Washang came to his senses and said seriously, Xiao Wu, are you sure you are not joking with your brother? Do I look like I'm joking to you? Huo Wu rolled her eyes at her brother. Is she a person who likes to joke? She never jokes, never. But that guy seems to be liked by many girls. After a long time, Feng Xiaoshan said with a flushed face. He didn't know how to describe his mood now. Doesn't this prove that he's excellent? Isn't it normal for me to like him? Huo Wu said as a matter of course. This immediately silenced all the team members. On the Xianshu College side, the two sisters Shubinga and Shijua, who had just returned to the team, were also denounced by a group of young ladies. Captain, so you are such a person. Tell me, what is the relationship between you and Jua and that handsome guy? What kind of relationship? I don't know what you are talking about. Shubinga didn't answer, but wanted to get away with it. She has always been very cold and has no interest in men. But Wu Crossing has given her too many benefits, and she can't help but be moved. He has money, beauty, and strength, and most importantly, he can give back to his own growth, not to mention that he has mastered the heaven-defying resurrection technique, which adolescent girl doesn't have spring in her heart. Huh, Captain, you are too mean. Seeing that the captain actually got away with it, the girls set their sights on Shujua. Jua, tell us quickly, what is your relationship with the captain and that man? Shujua was much more generous than her sister. She looked in Wu Crossing's direction. Hearts popped out of her eyes again, and replied shyly, of course we are boyfriend and girlfriend. The girls were speechless after hearing this. Well, asking is the same as not asking. This nympho at the Academy of Exotic Beasts, Meng Yiren, who returned to her team, was also questioned by her grandparents. But because of the diary copy, they couldn't get much useful information. They only knew that Wu Crossing was handsome, excellent, and capable. But can't anyone with a discerning eye see this information? If he wasn't excellent, how could he be surrounded by a group of girls? Chapter 153 Meeting Qian Ringsu. On the first day of the competition, a total of 28 teams played 14 matches, and the competition was not completed until the afternoon. It must be said that the Soul Masters of this Xiandao competition area are stronger than ever before. In the first round alone, several Soul Kings appeared. In previous years, except for the Wuhan Academy, no other academy could reach the level of Soul King with contestants under the age of 25. But now, whether it is the Blazing Fire Academy, Xianshu Academy, or the Exotic Beast Academy, there are Soul Kings. Huo Wu, a level 51 Soul King, has 2 yellow soul rings, 1 purple soul ring, and 2 black soul rings. Shubinger, a level 51 Soul King, has 2 yellow soul rings, 1 purple soul ring, and 2 black soul rings. Shujua, a level 51 Soul King, has 2 yellow soul rings, 1 purple soul ring, and 2 black soul rings. Meng Yiren, a level 51 Soul King, has 2 yellow soul rings, 1 purple soul ring, and 2 black soul rings. The original best soul ring configuration seems to have refreshed everyone's previous cognition because of today's competition and slapped Yu Xiao Gang, who was hiding behind the scenes, in the face. The best soul ring configuration for a Soul King is 2 yellow soul rings, 2 purple soul rings, and 1 black soul ring. His theory was directly made a laughingstock. Especially in Xiandao Royal Academy and Shrek Academy, there were 100,000 year spirit rings, which set off a huge wave. The appearance of twin martial spirits also let many viewers know that not every spirit master in this world has only one martial spirit. With the announcement of the end of today's competition, Wu Crossing was the first to leave the Great Fighting Soul Arena with the girls, without listening to some subsequent chicken soup. It was just that, as soon as the group walked out of the Great Fighting Soul Arena, they saw Ning Fengzi, who was already waiting here. Dad. Ning Rangrang was slightly stunned when she saw her father, and then she happily stepped forward and took his arm. Ning Fengzi smiled and nodded at his daughter. Dad, why did you come out early? Ning Rangrang raised her head and asked in confusion. Ning Fengzi looked at where Wu Crossing was and then slowly said, Dad is here to find little brother Wu Crossing. Brother Wu Crossing? Ning Rangrang was surprised. What did Dad want to find brother Wu Crossing? Wu Crossing was also slightly stunned when he heard this, but he soon thought of something and was relieved. Hello, everyone. Ning Fengzi couldn't help but greet everyone after pulling Ning Rangrang to Wu Crossing. Hello, Sect Master Ning. Everyone knew that the person in front of them was Ning Rangrang's father, and also knew that he was the sect master of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, and they also bowed slightly. Your performance today is really outstanding, especially the 100,000 year spirit ring. After today, I'm afraid it will spread all over the continent. Ning Fengzi smiled and nodded, speaking slowly. He did not ask about the 100,000 year spirit ring, nor did he ask why Wu Crossing did not play, but just praised everyone. I'm sorry to make you laugh, Uncle Ning. Xiao Wu and Zhu King quickly replied. After a brief conversation and a few olive branches, Ning Fengzi said to Wu Crossing, Brother Wu Crossing, do you have time now? Uncle Ning, I have time. Wu Crossing nodded. Hearing that Wu Crossing had time, Ning Fengzi then smiled and joked with Du Guyan and the other girls. Do you mind? I'll take brother Wu Crossing away for a while, okay? Please, Sect Master Ning. Upon hearing this, Du Guyan, Su Ruoxi, and Yi Lingling all blushed. Looking at the looks of the girls, Ning Fengzi sighed again at how popular Wu Crossing was with women. He had also seen before that outstanding girls from various colleges surrounded him. But then he thought, the other party is so outstanding and generous, and he generously gave them the 100,000 year spirit ring. It is normal to be surrounded by girls, isn't it the same for his own daughter? I hope that the other party will not forget his original intention in the future, and can always treat Rangrang sincerely. After leaving the Great Fighting Soul Arena, Wu Crossing asked Ning Fengzi, "Uncle Ning, are you looking for me because of Qian, Zuking Prince?" It was only when he mentioned Qian Ringsu that he reacted and quickly changed his words. "Brother Wu Crossing, so you know?" Ning Fengzi looked at Wu Crossing in surprise. He was looking for him, but he already knew the purpose. He was indeed entrusted by Prince Zuking to introduce him. He had always been waiting for the situation of the empire. After all, Emperor Zuyi was old and didn't have many years to live. As the first auxiliary sect in the continent, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect naturally had a lot to consider. If they wanted to maintain a good relationship with the empire and achieve a win-win situation, they needed to make plans in advance. He was more optimistic that Zuking could inherit the throne, so he had a close relationship with him and often visited him. "Well, I have some guesses." Wu Crossing nodded and then said, "Uncle Ning, you should just call me Wu Crossing. You must know about my relationship with Rangrong, so there is no need to be so distant." "Okay, then Uncle Ning, we'll call you Wu Crossing from now on." Ning Fengzi smiled. He was very satisfied that the other party could say it on his own initiative. Unlike the old fox Dugubo, he was obviously thick-skinned and insisted on pulling out his grandson-in-law. Thinking of the previous encounter with Shrek, he still remembered the old guy's proud look. Putting aside the cunning old fox, Ning Fengzi said again, "Wu Crossing, Rangrong's 100,000-year spirit ring, thank you very much." He didn't ask before, because he knew that his daughter's 2 100,000-year spirit rings were inseparable from the other party. Now that he has tacitly agreed with the other party, as a father, of course he has to thank him a few times. "Uncle Ning, you are polite. Rangrong is my woman. Please rest assured that, although I have many women, I will treat her sincerely." Wu Crossing answered and made a promise to the other party. After all, he was the cabbage that the other party had raised for more than 10 years, so he had to express his feelings to reassure the other party. "Haha, that's good." Ning Fengzi patted Wu Crossing on the shoulder. With this guarantee, he was more at ease to hand over his precious daughter to the other party. During the two people's negotiation, they soon came to a prosperous mansion with a plaque with 3 big characters "Prince's Mansion" written on it. There were 2 guards in front of the gate. One of them went inside to report immediately after seeing Ning Fengzi coming. Soon, a sound of footsteps was heard, and an old housekeeper appeared here. "Master Ning, little brother Wu Crossing, please follow me. Prince King is already waiting in the living room." The old housekeeper said immediately, and then made a gesture of invitation, and then led the 2 into the mansion. The prince's mansion is very large, but it is not as luxurious as expected. Instead, it looks very simple, which makes people feel particularly friendly. After passing through several long corridors and turning a few corners, they soon followed the housekeeper to an inner courtyard. Seeing that they came to the inner courtyard, Ning Fengzi was a little surprised, because this is a place to entertain close people. But Wu Crossing didn't think much about it. As he stepped into the living room and the inner courtyard, he also saw Qian Ringsu, who was already waiting. Chapter 154 First Conversation. However, Qian Ringsu was still dressed in men's clothes at this time, which made Wu Crossing less interested. He thought he could see the other party in women's clothes. In the end, love still disguised itself. Seeing the flash of disappointment in Wu Crossing's eyes, Qian Ringsu's forehead twitched a few times. This guy's too realistic. Although thinking so, she also felt that the other party was frank and at least not pretentious, which was more desirable for her. After all, she had been playing Zuking for too long, hiding herself all the time, and there was no one to talk to. It was not until the appearance of the diary copy that she had a place to relax. "Teacher, Mr. Wu, you are here." Qian Ringsu showed a warm smile on her face. Ning Fengzi also smiled and nodded, and then introduced Wu Crossing. "Wu Crossing, let me introduce you. This is the current Crown Prince of Xiandao Empire, His Royal Highness Zuking. Meet His Royal Highness King." Wu Crossing bowed his hands. Since the other party still needs to disguise himself, he has no intention of revealing his identity. "You are too polite, sir. It was King who took the liberty to ask the teacher to invite you here. I hope you will not be so polite." Qian Ringsu also raised her hand and said with a very sincere attitude, She knew that Wood Crossing did not like to be disturbed, but because of the outstanding performance of those women today, she could not help it. If she waited any longer and let the other party take the initiative to come up, I'm afraid that by then the daylily would be cold. That is not presumptuous. In fact, I have admired the prince for a long time. Wood Crossing replied with a smile. Hearing Wood Crossing's answer, Kyan Ringsu's face rose slightly. Of course, she knew what kind of admiration the other party was talking about. She had seen a lot of diary copies. The other party called her Zuxu his wife directly, and she also knew the meaning of this word through the annotations above. In addition, he also expressed his thoughts about her, but later found that the diary linked many worlds, and some diary holders were supreme powers, so the other party began to restrain a lot. Teacher, sir, please sit down. Kyan Ringsu invited Wood Crossing to sit down. After they sat down, Kyan Ringsu personally poured tea for Ning Fengxi and Wood Crossing. I don't know why His Highness called me here. Wood Crossing took a sip of the teacup and asked. Sir, King came to you this time to thank you for what happened before. Kyan Ringsu said softly. If it weren't for the diary copy, she might still be kept in the dark, still resenting her mother, and not knowing that her father would do such a beastly thing. It's just a little help. Wood Crossing smiled when he heard it. From this sentence, it can be heard that the relationship between the other party and his mother has eased. In the original work, the relationship between Kyan Ringsu and Bibi Dan was eased when it was near the end, and the truth was made public. It's just that at that time, Bibi Dan was about to die, and Kyan Ringsu also shattered her position of god, which was really a pity. If the truth had been revealed earlier, and if Kyan Sunji's affairs had been known earlier, perhaps there would be no double standard King Tangsan. After all, if both sides were united instead of acting independently, they would not stop at Jialing Pass, and would probably have swept the entire Xiandao Empire. Ning Fengxi, who was standing aside, looked at Kyan Ringsu and Wood Crossing. At first, he did not feel anything, but as they talked, he always felt that something seemed to be wrong, mainly reflected in Zuking's attitude and address. If it was just because he felt that Wood Crossing was a worthy target, there was no need to make his attitude appear humble, but he had no such intention from beginning to end, which made him feel very strange. There was also the address, calling him young master all the time, which did not seem like a conversation between the monarch and the people, but more like admiration for each other. With the thanks from His Highness later, he finally understood what was going on. Your Highness, are you an old acquaintance of Wood Crossing? Ning Fengxi asked curiously. Kyan Ringsu nodded and said, well, teacher, King and young master have known each other for a long time, but it's just the first time they met. Known for a long time, but it's the first time they met. Ning Fengxi, who had just understood what was going on, was confused by this sentence again. Looking at the confused Ning Fengxi, Wood Crossing also smiled and said, Uncle Ning, your highness and I are pen pals and we often exchange letters. He is the owner of the diary, and Kyan Ringsu is the holder of the diary. Isn't it pen pals and correspondence? I see. Ning Fengxi suddenly realized after hearing this. No wonder your highness asked him to invite the other party. Wood Crossing did not play in the competition today. How did His Highness know about it? It turned out that there was such a relationship between the two. No wonder Wood Crossing guessed that it was His Highness who came to him, and no wonder His Highness admired him. He should appreciate Wood Crossing's talent in writing letters. By the way, young master, I heard from my subordinates before that what happened in Shrek Academy half a year ago was done by Tang Heo. After explaining the relationship between the two, Kyan Ringsu asked about the Shrek Academy. Well, it's a pity that they didn't stay. Wood Crossing nodded. Kyan Ringsu's heart moved, and then asked, do you need King's help? As a girl who had been lurking in the Xiandao Empire since she was a child, she was very smart, and would not miss any opportunity to make friends with the owner of the diary. Otherwise, she would not have taken any action when she knew Wood Crossing was in Xiandao City, and she would not have been assigned such a task by Kyan Liu. She would not be like those girls, directly recommending herself and offering herself voluntarily. With her temperament, she could not do it, and in her eyes, this was the lowest behavior. No. Wood Crossing shook his head. He could handle this matter by himself, and there was no need to owe the other party a favor. Seeing this, Qin Rongsu did not say much, but asked, "Young master, do you have any opinion on King's plan? I'm optimistic about your highness, and if possible, I also hope to realize it." Wu Crossing understood that the plan Qin Rongsu was talking about was about the Wuhan Hall planning the entire continent and creating the Wuhan Empire. Perhaps the war would lead to the death of many soul masters and the displacement of civilians, but in the long run, the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. Of course, being able to seize the entire Xiandao Empire without a single soldier by lurking will also reduce many casualties. Therefore, he has a great responsibility for the failure of the Xiandao Empire's palace coup and the destruction of so many families caused by the little punk, the evil soul master of the killing city, the final collision of the sun and moon continents, and the destruction of the Xiandao Empire in the end, are all related to the other party's slogan of false justice. Hearing Wu Crossing's supportive attitude, and hoping that he could succeed, Qin Rongsu didn't have time to experience the feeling of being expected by others. Time passed quickly, and the two talked very harmoniously. Unknowingly, it was time for dinner in the evening. "Teacher, young master, why don't we have a simple meal together in King Mansion?" Qin Rongsu suggested. "No, I have to go back to Yuxuan to prepare for tomorrow's competition." Wu Crossing politely rejected Qin Rongsu's invitation. Ning Fengzi also refused. He had to go back to Kibaoliuli sect to prepare for tomorrow's affairs. Chapter 155 Giving Birth. Seeing this, Qin Rongsu did not try to persuade him to stay, but said, "Sir, add a friend." Wu Crossing immediately received a friend request from the diary panel. Okay. Wu Crossing agreed to the other party's request without hesitation. He accompanied the other party in person until they arrived at the gate of the mansion. Wu Crossing seemed to have thought of something, and then he leaned into Qin Rongsu's ear and said, "Don't be so harsh on it. Those things are harmful to physical and mental health. In the long run, they will also affect your figure. I don't like it." Qin Rongsu was stunned subconsciously when she heard the words. She didn't know what the owner of the diary was talking about, but when she looked at her, she knew what was being expressed, and her whole face instantly began to turn slightly red. This guy's really a pervert, and he actually refers to her breasts and buttocks. What does it have to do with you to grow on your body? Who wants you to like it? Qin Rongsu secretly said fiercely. Haha. Looking at Qin Rongsu, who was so angry that his teeth itched, Wu Crossing laughed and turned away. I didn't see the other party wearing women's clothes, which was a little regretful. At least I had to take advantage of other places, right? Ning Fengzi, who was standing next to him, was a little confused. He always felt that something was wrong, but he just couldn't figure out what was wrong. It was not until he left the prince's mansion that he spoke. Wu Crossing, how did you and the prince first know each other? You have a good relationship? My acquaintance with the prince was also accidental, and as for the relationship, it's okay. Wu Crossing replied. Ning Fengzi nodded when he heard it, and then continued to ask, what do you think of this prince? Uncle Ning, His Highness Zuking is good. You just do it as you did in the past. Wu Crossing knew that Ning Fengzi was talking about this prince, and whether he was optimistic about whether the other party could inherit the throne. This is very important for the Seven Treasures Glazed sect and the entire sect. Yeah. Hearing the answer given by Wu Crossing, Ning Fengzi was satisfied in his heart. He didn't know why he cared about other people's opinions. However, Uncle Ning, I think if the Seven Treasures Glazed sect wants to grow stronger, it should not only look at the Xiandao Empire. At this time, Wu Crossing's words came again. Oh. Ning Fengzi was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that the other party actually understood his intention. For example, in the entire continent, although the two empires are huge, they are not as powerful as the Spirit Hall. Wu Crossing said carefully. Ning Fengzi was stunned, and then said, do you mean that you are more optimistic about the Spirit Hall? He had discovered some clues before. The Spirit Hall may have huge actions in the next few years, which may affect the distribution of power in the entire continent. In order to avoid the impact on the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, he will get close to the Xiandao Empire in recent years. Even for the heir to the throne of the Xiandao Empire, he chose to stand on the side of Zuking. In fact, I'm not very interested in the power struggle on the continent, but for the time being, the spirit hall is indeed more advantageous. But Uncle Ning, don't worry, Rong Rong is your daughter, and I will not watch the 7 treasures glazed tile sect decline. Wu Crossing said seriously. Wu Crossing, I feel relieved when you say this. Rong Rong really did not make a mistake. Ning Fengzi laughed heartily when he heard this. After talking about the direction of the continent, the two came to the place where they separated. After exchanging a few words, Wu Crossing said goodbye and walked towards Yuxun. Ning Fengzi also walked towards the city gate. He was in a good mood. He didn't expect that the man his daughter Wu Crossing liked, although he was not very old, had excellent vision and political acumen. Most importantly, that promise made him feel very comfortable. There was no way. As the leader of a sect, he was not considering an individual, but the entire sect. With Wu Crossing's talent, he would definitely stand on the top of the continent in a few years. By then, even if the 3 forces had undergone major changes, the 7 treasures glazed sect would not fall into the quagmire with him supporting it. Husband, are you back? When Wu Crossing returned to Yuxun, Su Ruoxi and the other girls had already come forward. Yeah. Wu Crossing nodded. What did Sect Master Ning want to talk to you about? Du Guyan, who had always been less concerned about things, rarely took the initiative to ask. It's not her fault. Let's not talk about Ning Rangrang for now. Even the prince is supported by her grandfather, and Ning Fengzi are different. Although she has no interest in politics, she knows a thing or two about the affairs of the court. If a prince inherits the throne, it will always have an impact on the family. It's Kan Ringsu. She wants to see me, Wu Crossing said slowly. Kan Ringsu? Du Guyan was stunned. Even Su Ruoxi and Yi Lingling looked up at their men. Isn't Kan Ringsu Bibi Dang's daughter? What's the relationship with Ning Fengzi? How are they connected? Seeing the confused women, Wu Crossing finally understood and explained. Remember what I told Kan Ringsu to be careful of avalanches in my diary before? Remember? The 3 women nodded. Zuking is actually Kan Ringsu in disguise. Wu Crossing explained with a smile. What? Hearing Wu Crossing's words, the 3 women opened their mouths in surprise. They could never have imagined that Zuking was actually Kan Ringsu in disguise. Isn't this incredible? How did the other party disguise himself as the prince of the Xiandao Empire and escape the eyes of Emperor Zuyi and Ning Fengzi without being discovered? Husband, what do you think? After learning that Zuking was Kan Ringsu, Du Guyan hurriedly asked. What do I think? I have no interest in these forces. My biggest wish is to wait until my strength is enough to take you to travel around the entire continent, travel around the world, and appreciate the different customs of various worlds, Wu Crossing said with a smile. Hearing the wishes of their men, the 3 women's eyes lit up, and they secretly made up their minds to work harder to practice, keep up with his footsteps, and let this day come soon. However, just when the 3 women were moved by Wu Crossing's wishes, the next sentence made them blush and shy. Of course, it would be even better if I could give birth to a few big fat boys for my husband and a few caring little cotton padded jackets, Wu Crossing said with a smile. Give birth to a few big fat boys. Give birth to a few sweet little cotton padded jackets. They haven't thought about this kind of thing yet. It's too early for them. Seeing the shy girls, Wu Crossing joked again. Why, you dare not look at me, don't you want to? Of course not. The 3 girls shook their heads quickly. Although this made them very shy, they were willing. Especially Du Guyan. She was urged by her grandfather, but she was not mentally prepared to give birth to a child, and she had no experience. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Father and Son. The next day, the elite competition of advanced Soul Master colleges across the continent was in full swing. Originally, Wu Crossing was going to play in today's match, but what he didn't expect was that Yu Feng said that the opponent in the second round had admitted defeat. As the third match of the first round of the preliminaries, the Xiandao royal team left a deep impression on the audience. not to mention the 3 Soul Kings. There were also several 100,000-year soul rings, which invisibly brought huge pressure to the other teams. The college, knowing that it was no match, directly admitted defeat and planned to save its strength to deal with tomorrow's game. This situation will appear in every competition, and it is also a tactic. The purpose is to play to one's strengths and avoid weaknesses, so that one's own college can go further. It's a pity. It seems that I can't play again today, and I can't show you my strength. Wu Crossing expressed regret to the live broadcast, but from his tone, he revealed a Versailles look, which made many diary holders who watched the live broadcast angry. This guy's really too pretentious. Come and beat him up with a powerful reader, let him be arrogant. But speaking of which, in today's match, the little jerk who joined Wuhun Academy didn't play, and he wasn't seen in the stands. I wonder where he went. Could he be holding back some big move to deal with me tomorrow? Soon, the women's minds were attracted by Wu Crossing's words again. Indeed, they didn't see Tang Sun today, as if he had disappeared. After hearing this, Su Ruoxi, Xiao Wu and other women felt a pang in their hearts and began to worry. Although Tang San's limelight yesterday was covered up by them in a short while, his strength is unquestionable. If he really holds back a big move, it will be really troublesome to deal with his own man, so he must be on guard. At the same time, in Xiandao City, a hotel is also where Wuhun Academy is staying. Now Tang San, with a hideous and sinister face, exudes a terrifying evil spirit, and is using his external soul bone 8 spider lance to madly absorb his father's soul power for his own use. Yesterday's match made him realize that Wu Crossing might be hiding his strength, and his soul power of level 68 might not be his opponent. In order to be on the safe side, in order to avenge his previous shame, and to trample him down in front of Xiao Wu and countless soul masters, he quickly poisoned Tang Heo with food, causing him to be poisoned by the Tang sect poison. Not only was he weak all over, but his skin was also dark purple. Tang Heo, who noticed this change, didn't think anything at first. After all, he was a great Haoshan Douluo, so how could he be poisoned by some low-level poison? But as he mobilized his soul power to force out the toxins in his body, he found that he couldn't mobilize his soul power. His face suddenly changed. This was obviously some kind of poison that he didn't even know about. Not only was it unnoticeable, it could even suppress the soul power of a titled Douluo. Seeing that the time was right, Tang Sun stood up at this time and told his father that his 8 spider lance could devour any toxins between heaven and earth. Tang Heo didn't think much about it, nor did he doubt that the reason he was poisoned was because of his son. Then the current scene appeared. Although Tang Sun was madly absorbing his father's soul power, Tang Heo didn't notice it at all. He just felt that his spirit was getting better slowly. Little did he know that it was the result of his son's deliberate action, and it was just the last glimmer of his own vitality. Haha, son, you are worthy of it. You can dissolve the poison that even your father can't detect. Tang Heo, who felt his body recovering, laughed and patted Tang San's shoulder hard, his face full of relief. Facing his father's praise, Tang San smiled slightly, but with his current appearance, it looked particularly creepy. But Tang Heo didn't think so. His son was the best anyway, even Yu Xiao Gang next to him was the same. But the matter of poisoning must not be let go. We must investigate who poisoned it. After saying this, Tang Heo's face sank, and the whole body burst out with a murderous aura. Dare to poison him, a titled Douluo, you are really tired of living. Father, you take a rest first, leave the matter of poisoning to me. Tang Sun pretended to be filial. Okay. Tang Heo nodded, not refusing his son's duty to be filial. If he knew that he was poisoned by his son in order to absorb his soul power, I wonder how he would feel. Would he still think that his son was filial? After leaving the room, Tang Sun did not investigate the so-called murderer. He glanced at the door of the room with cold eyes and sneered in his heart. Father, don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame you for treating mother like that. I'm just avenging my mother. Without staying for long, he quickly entered his room and refined the huge soul power he had just absorbed from his father. The soul power of a titled Douluo is very magnificent. He only refined a small part of it, and his soul power has reached level 70. After realizing the level 70 soul power, Tang San's face was happy. If he refined all the soul power in his body, he might be able to soar to the level 80 soul Douluo. But before that, he had to get the soul ring quickly. Time waits for no one. According to the round of the draw, he will fight with Wu Crossing tomorrow. He came out of the room without any hesitation and headed towards the sunset forest at the fastest speed. After killing a 30,000-year-old soul beast, he quickly refined the remaining soul power. The soul power rose from the initial level 70, like a rocket, until it reached the 80th level soul power. Then Tang San began to hunt the soul beasts of tens of thousands of years in the sunset forest frantically, and all the soul beasts suffered. Not only did he absorb the 8th soul ring for the blue silver grass, but he also absorbed the soul ring of the clear sky hammer. In order to avenge his hatred, he has gone completely crazy and spared no expense. Feeling the terrifying level 81 soul power in his body, looking at the 8 10,000-year soul rings emerging under his feet, Tang San's face showed a smug look. Wu Crossing, are you ready to face my anger? Xiao Wu, I want you to see who is the real strong man. I will let you see for yourself how miserable that guy's end is. You only belong to me. Wu Crossing, who was watching the live broadcast of the Great Soul Arena, thought that Tang San was holding back a big move to deal with him, but he never expected that this guy was so filial that he even absorbed his father's soul power and vitality. But even if he knew, he would only sigh, like father, like son, and it is normal for such a father to be kind and a son to be filial. Of course, in order to be able to take revenge, even the second martial soul couldn't help but absorb the soul ring. Such a short-sighted guy, he has no interest at all. Chapter 157 Tang San becomes a soul Douluo. In a blink of an eye, the competition came to the third day. As soon as Wu Crossing and others arrived at the Great Soul Fighting Arena, he found that Tang San, who had disappeared for a whole day yesterday, appeared again in Wuhun Academy. However, this time, he clearly felt the aura of the other party and became more unpredictable. Wu Crossing, something is wrong. Ling Yuan and A Ro, who had been guarding in secret, all appeared in front of Wu Crossing at the first time. What's wrong? Wu Crossing looked at Ling Yuan and A Ro in confusion. Su Ruoxi and the other girls were shocked by the appearance of Ling Yuan and A Ro, and they were shocked again when they saw the solemn eyes of the two sisters. Ling Yuan took a close look at Tang San and said in a deep voice, that guy's soul power is even greater than yesterday. What? Hearing what Sister Ling Yuan said, the hearts of the girls were in their throats. The strength shown by Tang San in yesterday's game was already exaggerated. Now it is said that the opponent's soul power is much greater than yesterday. How can they not be nervous? About what extent? Wu Crossing was also stunned. Is this little bastard still so awesome without the aura of the protagonist? Is upgrading soul power as simple as drinking water? I can't tell the specific situation, but it's at least at the level of Soul Saint, maybe even Soul Douluo. Ling Yuan said heavily. Ara also nodded and said, my benefactor, that guy is very wrong. I can feel that his breath is very evil. As a 100,000-year-old soul beast, she is more sensitive to soul power fluctuations. She only feels that the human has an evil breath. Soul Saint? Maybe even Soul Douluo? Wu Crossing was stunned and subconsciously looked in the direction of the little punk. To be honest, he was really surprised. What on earth did he do? Su Ruoxi, Du Guyan, and Yi Lingling were even more shocked. Is that guy so powerful? Then they were all worried. Su Ruoxi hurriedly said, husband, how about not going on stage for a while? Yes, husband, let's admit defeat. Du Guyan and Li Lingling both nodded and persuaded. Soul Saint, Soul Douluo. It really scared them. For the sake of their man's safety, there is nothing wrong with giving up. They don't care, nor do they care what others think. They only care about Wu Crossing's safety. Shrek Academy saw the mother appearing in the live broadcast and heard Ling Yuan's words and rushed over here as soon as possible. Brother Wu Crossing, Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrong, and Zhu Zuking were worried, fearing that Wu Crossing would go on the stage regardless of his safety. The other diary holders present were also shocked by what Ling Yuan said. Tang San, it is very likely to be a Soul Douluo. Is it too exaggerated? This is the so-called protagonist, the so-called son of destiny. Even if he loses the protagonist's halo, God keeps feeding him. Then, they became worried again. Would Wood Crossing really go on the stage? Although Wood Crossing has the resurrection technique, the ability to be immortal, and even masters the skills from another world, they don't want him to show off. They all know Ling Yuan, and they all know Xiao Wu's mother Erao. Both women are titled Douluo. They must have said so with basis. Both women thought that something was wrong with the other, which meant that the situation was very dangerous. In the VIP seats, Ceres, who was sitting next to the main seat, was shocked when he saw Ling Yuan appear. He stood up subconsciously. The elder actually showed up. And he was so close to a contestant. Could that guy be the man that the Pope said he would obey the other party's orders regardless of everything? Master Ceres, what's wrong? Ceres's reaction made Emperor Zuyi and Ning Fengzi on the side stunned. Following the other's gaze, Emperor Zuyi's pupils condensed. He actually saw the most outstanding members of the Shandao Royal Team 2 and the Shrek members who performed the best the day before yesterday gathered together. Ning Fengzi also opened his mouth slightly, but his attention was different from Emperor Zuyi's, but on Ling Yuan and Erao. Gu Rong said that these two were titled Douluo, and he also heard from his daughter that they were Wood Crossing's protectors. What happened that made both of them appear in the Great Fighting Soul Arena? Qian Ringsu, after hearing what Elder Ling Yuan said, slowly stood up from her seat and walked towards the exit passage behind. Tang San's change caught her off guard. Although Wood Crossing said that the other party could handle Tang San's affairs, she still made full preparations and ordered the four elders in the dark to deal with any situation that might arise next. In the Wuhan Hall, Bibi Dang, sitting on the Pope's throne, also saw Tang San, who was filled with the aura of the Rakshasa god in the live broadcast screen, and her heart was also shaken several times. Then she sent a message to Ling Yuan without hesitation, asking her to directly announce to Ceres that an evil soul master had appeared in the Great Daohan Arena, and let him, and Ling Yuan and other guards of the Xiandao Empire, to capture the other party, and not let the competition continue. Apart from Wood Crossing's woman, the ones who were most worried about his safety were none other than Bibi Dang and the ruthless emperor. One was waiting for the other party to be able to realize greater ambitions for herself, and the other was waiting to revive her brother as soon as possible, and she must not let the owner of the diary disappear for a year. However, Ling Yuan's attention was focused on her little man at this moment, and she did not immediately check the news from the Pope in her copy of the diary. This Ling Yuan. Seeing Ling Yuan not taking any action, Bibi Dong's chest was heaving with anger. At this moment, Tang San also focused on Wood Crossing. Seeing Xiao Wu walking towards that guy, he couldn't help but clench his fist tightly, and the huge soul power surged in an instant. Soul Douluo. This flash of soul power fluctuation made Ling Yuan and Erao aware of it. Wood Crossing, that guy is a soul Douluo now, don't be stubborn. Seeing that he was not moved at all, Ling Yuan said anxiously, and his tone became a little stern. Looking at the women who were worried about him, Wood Crossing smiled and said, "It's okay, it's just a soul Douluo, as long as it's not a titled Douluo." He didn't want to play, he wanted him to admit defeats to Tang San directly. How could he do it? Even if the other party didn't know what means he used to reach the level of Soul Douluo, he was still not weak. He is invincible below Soul Saint, and can trade 1-for-1 with Soul Douluo. With the countless martial souls he has mastered, and the skills that can crush the opponent, Soul Douluo is not necessarily good enough. You want to piss me off to death. Seeing that Wood Crossing was not going to admit defeat, and insisted on going on the court, Ling Yuan was so angry that she wanted to knock this guy out. She couldn't stop pretending. Your safety is related to the women who love you deeply, and to the diary holders of the entire Zhutian Zangman. Chapter 158 Daodao's Quality. Sister Ling Yuan, do you think I would fight a battle I'm not sure of? Wood Crossing looked at Ling Yuan seriously, his tone full of confidence. Ling Yuan opened her mouth and wanted to persuade him to say something, but seeing Wood Crossing's determined look, she knew he would not admit defeat, and finally said angrily, "Since you want to show off, it's up to you." This bastard, he didn't even consider their concerns, and insisted on being stubborn to the end. Seeing their man's resolute attitude, Suruoxi and the other women also fell silent, and stopped persuading him. They could only act according to circumstances. After they got on the stage, it didn't take too long. The host Dao Dao was already on the stage, but she was holding the microphone and didn't announce the players to enter, waiting for Wu Crossing to admit defeat. But now it seems impossible, and the audience has already started to urge why the game hasn't started yet, so she had no choice but to say helplessly, the first game of the third round, Kanghu Academy vs. Xiandao Royal Team 2, please invite both players to enter. As Dao Dao's voice sounded, Tang San immediately waved his black robe and walked towards the ring first. He has been waiting for this moment for a long time, more than half a year. Today is the day to trample the opponent under his feet. On the other hand, Wu Crossing, after hearing Dao Dao announce the entry, took his time to step onto the ring with a few girls and Zhen Minghu. As the members of both sides came on stage, the audience cheered. Finally, they could see the match of Xiandao Royal Team 2 again. Yesterday, they were looking forward to it, but they didn't expect that both Xiandao Royal Team 2 and Shrek Academy Team, all the opponents in the second round, admitted defeat. This made them all very uncomfortable, but they also understood that the strength shown by the two teams on the first day of the game was too strong. It is understandable that other academies temporarily avoid the limelight in order to squeeze into the top 5. Fortunately, they did not disappoint today, but I don't know how long Kanghu Academy can hold on. Haha, this Kanghu Academy is so brave that they didn't admit defeat. Yeah, is Kanghu Academy going to be the first to challenge the authority of Xiandao Royal Academy? But then again, that black-robed guy's not weak either. I wonder if there will be any surprises. What kind of surprises can there be? That guy is strong, but can he be compared with a Soul King with 100,000-year soul ring? That's right. Listening to the discussions in the audience, the feeling of not being favored made Tang San's anger rise uncontrollably. A bunch of short-sighted guys. I'll show you what strength is in a moment. While he was annoyed, Wu Crossing also came to the opposite side and stood on the ring. I thought you wouldn't dare to go on stage. Seeing Wu Crossing appear, Tang San said grimly, "You are so eager to be abused. How can I refuse?" Wu Crossing smiled slightly, with a calm face. "You only know how to talk." Seeing the other party's nonchalant expression, Tang San thought of what happened in the back mountain of Shrek half a year ago, and his face darkened immediately. "Referee, announce the start." Tang San knew that he could not win the argument, so he turned to urge Dao Dao in the air with a cold voice. He couldn't wait to step on Wu Crossing. Let everyone see who is the real genius spirit master, and let Xiao Wu see that he is her destiny. Dao Dao, who was holding the microphone and wanted to announce the start, frowned when he heard Tang San's cold and impatient voice and put down the microphone unhappily. "Why are you urging me? Are you in a hurry to reincarnate? You?" Hearing this, Tang San almost exploded. A small referee actually dared to contradict him. Wu Crossing, who was standing aside, laughed out loud when he heard Dao Dao's answer. He didn't expect that Dao Dao would be so down to earth. He thought that as a host, she always maintained her own qualities. Wu Crossing's laughter sounded like a joke to Tang San, and he clenched his fists tightly. This woman is really looking for death. Well, this little jerk also hates Dao Dao. Looking at Tang San's biting look, Dao Dao didn't care. "What the hell, urging me? Are you qualified?" Then, in front of the opponent, he didn't announce the start of the game and put on an expression of "what can you do to me? Stinky bitch." Looking at the other party's disdainful look, Tang San wanted to kill the other party. However, he knew that the other party was the referee, and he couldn't do it now, and he couldn't even release his martial spirit before the other party announced the start. Otherwise, he would be directly judged as a violation and could be disqualified from the game. Therefore, although he was aggrieved, he couldn't get angry. He could only remember this account in his heart and let the stinky bitch in front of him have a good time after the game. Dao Dao paused for a while and looked at the other party coldly again, and then slowly looked at the staff outside the field and nodded to them. In an instant, the staff quickly typed some commands on the mechanical keyboard. Suddenly, a loud noise came, and a transparent light shield shot out from the side of the ring, covering it. Huh? What's going on? Is the shield turned on? What's going on? The game hasn't started yet, and the shield is turned on first. This is the first time I've seen a shield turned on before a game starts. As the transparent shield lit up, the audience was stunned. Not to mention these ordinary audiences, even Emperor Zuyi, Ning Fengzi, and Ceres, they couldn't help but stare at the shield in a daze. Of course, the reason why the shield was turned on first was Dao Dao's own idea. As the host, she had certain authority over the competition on the ring. In order to avoid affecting the audience seats, she took the lead in asking the staff to activate the shield. After doing all this, Dao Dao glanced at Tangsun with disdain and then slowly picked up the microphone. I declare that the game officially begins. As soon as Dao Dao finished the announcement, Tangsun couldn't help but activate his martial spirit. As his martial spirit was released, the spirit rings under his feet began to gradually emerge. Yellow, yellow, purple, black, 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 black. A total of 8 spirit rings rose from his feet. 8 spirit rings? Fuck, am I dazzled? That black-robed man from Wuhun Academy is actually a soul Douluo? Fuck, are you kidding me? When Tangsun released his martial spirit, facing the shocked audience, he immediately felt extremely satisfied with his vanity. However, just when he thought that Wu Crossing would be scared silly by his spirit power, he did not do so as expected, and even looked calm. This guy's definitely pretending. He must be scared to death, Tangsun said with great confidence. But before he could finish his limelight, the audience's attention was soon focused on Wu Crossing. No, it should be on the spirit rings that were slowly rising under his feet. Chapter 159, Million Year Spirit Ring. Black 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 red, gold. Although there are only 5 spirit rings, a million year spirit ring has appeared, which is rarer than the 100,000 year red spirit ring. Fuck, another different spirit ring has appeared. Can anyone tell me what the golden spirit ring is? This year's all-continental college elite competition really broadened my horizons. I won't talk about the red spirit ring, and now there is a golden spirit ring. Is it that I can't keep up with the times, or are these guys cheating? What kind of spirit ring is a golden spirit ring? Does anyone know? However, the discussion of the crowd did not receive any response, because no one knew what a golden spirit ring was. Not to mention that ordinary audiences don't know about golden spirit rings. Even many spirit masters don't know what level of spirit ring it is. Only the top few spirit masters have heard of it. It is rumored that it is a million-year spirit ring that is more precious than 100,000-year spirit ring. As the million-year spirit ring appeared, the people who originally paid attention to Tangsun turned their attention to Wu Crossing. Although this guy is a soul Douluo, the best soul ring he has is only a black 10,000-year soul ring. Compared with a 1,000,000-year soul ring, it is not good enough and is really ordinary. On the other hand, Wu Crossing is different. The 10,000-year soul ring is just his starting point. The 100,000-year soul ring is his transition. The 1,000,000-year soul ring is the real trump card. This little guy, Emperor Zuyi, was so shocked by the scene in front of him that he even lost his image as an emperor. The 100,000-year soul ring is already the most precious treasure that all soul masters dream of. Now even a 1,000,000-year soul ring has appeared, and it is on a soul king. It is really rare to see it in one's lifetime. No wonder Ning Fengzi said before that he was optimistic about this man named Wu Crossing to win the championship for the empire. It is really too amazing. The 100,000-year soul ring is a treasure that the title Douluo is extremely jealous of, not to mention the 1,000,000-year soul ring, which only exists in legends. As a soul Douluo, Tangsun only has the Laoku 10,000-year soul ring. It is clear who is a real genius. Since the frequent appearance of 100,000-year spirit rings in the competition, many people no longer look down on 10,000-year spirit rings. If you haven't seen a few 100,000-year spirit rings, you'd be embarrassed to brag to others. Sister Ruoxi, what kind of spirit ring does my husband have? On the field, Du Guyan looked at the golden spirit ring that appeared under her man's feet and was completely stunned. Su Ruoxi was also a little confused. She didn't know that her man's 5th spirit ring was golden. She and the other party and Li Lingling had been practicing mimicry for a few months. Not to mention that the 3 women didn't know. Even Ling Yuan and A Rao were a little dumbfounded. In the past few months, although they had been accompanying him, they didn't serve him 24 hours a day, especially at night. Ling Yuan was a titled Douluo, but she was no match for Wu Crossing in that aspect. It would be a death sentence for her to fight against that beast alone, so she often ran away when night fell. As for a row, she was not that guy's woman, and it was even more impossible for her to accompany him at night, which led to them not knowing when Wu Crossing absorbed the million-year spirit ring. They didn't know Xiao Wu, Ning Rangrong, and Zhu Zuking were the same. And Wu Crossing didn't advertise his million-year spirit ring everywhere, show off in front of Ling Yuan, or show off in the diary copy. Of course, he didn't hide it from his woman on purpose. It was mainly because Suruoxi and the others came out of retreat, and they only cared about being gentle, and forgot about it. It's like this again. It's this guy again. Every time he just stood out, he was slapped in the face by the other party. Now Tang San felt like a clown. As long as the other party was there, he would become aggreenly set off by the other party. This made him not mention how aggrieved and unhappy he was. Wu Crossing, no matter how awesome your spirit ring is, you are still not a spirit king. In front of my spirit Douluo, you can only be stepped on. Tang San was furious, and then shouted, "Blue silver true body." The seventh spirit ring under his feet bloomed, and the black light shield completely wrapped his body in it. As the black light penetrated, the whole person became like a human-shaped blue silver grass. As soon as he attacked, he used his spirit body and his seventh spirit ring. Obviously, he didn't want to be outdone by Wu Crossing again. He defeated him with the fastest speed and thunderous force. In front of all the short-sighted spectators and Xiao Wu, he stepped on this guy fiercely. Let them see who is the real strong man. The terrifying pressure burst out from Tang San's body and spread out to the surroundings. This energy made the 6 students on the field take 2 steps back slightly, and also made Suruoxi and other members of the Cheyenne Dao royal team to raise their hands slightly to resist the huge pressure. Even Dao Dao in the air paused, frowned slightly, and was a little worried about Wu Crossing below. Although Wu Crossing has a million-year spirit ring, he is still a spirit king after all, and the gap with the soul Douluo is still a bit big. However, as he looked over, he found that Wu Crossing faced the pressure and acted calmly, and was not affected at all, which made the concerned women breathe a sigh of relief. With the blessing of the spirit body, Tang San felt his strength was unprecedentedly strong. Then he grasped it casually, and a long spear appeared in his hand. It was his 5th spirit skill, Blue Silver Overlord Spear. Just as the opponent used the Blue Silver Overlord Spear to rush over quickly, the spirit ring under Wu Crossing's feet also lit up slowly, and a long sword appeared in his hand. Facing Tang San, who was rushing over, he also waved his sword to meet him. Bang! The long sword brought up invisible sword energy, and collided with the Blue Silver Overlord Spear. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and white light emerged from the intersection. The flash of white light was followed by a terrifying airwave that could be seen with the naked eye, sweeping away and rushing towards the surroundings. Fortunately, the people off the field were protected by the protective shield and did not feel much impact, but the people on the field were all staggered by the airflow for a few times before they stabilized their bodies. How is it possible? As the first blow was exchanged, Tang San's heart showed a look of horror. The huge recoil force almost made his hands shake, his arms went numb, and his knuckles hurt. This guy actually blocked the attack from his martial spirit's true body. Isn't he a soul king? How can a mere soul king fight against a soul Douluo like him? Although he didn't want to admit it, the facts were in front of him, and he couldn't help but believe it. However, what made him vomit blood was that Wu Crossing didn't seem to be struggling at all. Not only was he completely at ease, but he also spoke. Is this your soul Douluo strength? I thought you were so powerful, but you're just a facade. No wonder you have to wear a green hat all your life. You're weak and you're weak. Wu Crossing, I want you to die. Being talked about being cuckolded by the other party, and being accused of being weak, Tang San roared, pulled back the spear in his hand, and stabbed Wu Crossing's chest again. I lost my ID card. I went back to the county to apply for it. It's so difficult to type on a mobile phone. Chapter 160, Crushing the Clear Sky Hammer. Facing Tang San's criticism, Wu Crossing's eyelids didn't even twitch, and he raised the long sword in his hand and stabbed straight forward. What he said just now was true. Although Tang San's soul power reached level 81, it was very superficial, far less scary than it looked on the surface. It can even be said that he didn't look like a soul Douluo at all, but more like a soul saint. As for the reason, Wu Crossing probably guessed it. I'm afraid he absorbed the soul power of others for his own use. This kind of practice, similar to pulling up seedlings to help them grow, not only did his soul power become messy, but his strength was far less stable than his own cultivation. Of course, it's true to say so, but the soul saint is also very exaggerated. You have to know that half a year ago, this little jerk was only a soul lord. The sword tip and the spear glare clashed again, and the airflow produced a visible shield, and the harsh humming sound was accompanied by sparks and lightning. It seemed that both sides were madly releasing violent energy, and the space was shaking at the intersection of the two. The airwaves generated by the huge energy, like a stone falling into a calm water surface, spread around in circles, and the air was rippled. Too exaggerated. This is a real battle. Yes, is this still the elite competition I watched before? It can't be compared with this one. I originally thought that the Soul Kings of Shy and Our Team 2 were the most powerful, but I didn't expect that this man was the real one. Yes, now even they can't intervene. How terrifying his strength is. In the audience, watching this scene in the field, even with the protective shield, they can feel the unparalleled aura from it. Emperor Zuyi, Ning Fengzi, Ceres, Gurong, and Du Gubo were all deeply shocked when they saw the scene, unable to express their feelings at the moment. Only the diary holders were worried about Wu crossing on the field, and Ling Yuan and A Rao were watching closely, and they would take action as soon as something was wrong. But soon the two women relaxed their hearts, because from Wu Crossing's relaxed expression, it can be seen that he can handle it. On the contrary, Tang San's expression seemed very strenuous, and he used all his strength, but he couldn't shake the opponent at all. Didn't you eat? That's all you can do. If that's all you can do, you'd better be a cuckold. Wu Crossing sneered again. Then he increased the strength in his hand a little bit. The next second, a cracking sound was heard, and the air shield on the spear began to have a crack, spreading like a spider web. No. Seeing that his blue-silver overlord spear had a crack, Tang San roared wildly, and the soul power in his body kept surging, constantly injecting soul power into the tip of the spear. But no matter how he shouted, how he sent soul power, the crack was getting bigger and bigger, and finally broke directly. The powerful impact directly rushed Tang San out, and the blue-silver overlord spear that broke into countless pieces even scraped off the black robe that was tightly wrapped by him, revealing his true face at this time. Wow. Tang San felt that his eyes went black, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Zio-san, Yu Xiao Gang, who had been hiding in the dark, couldn't help but stand up to avoid being questioned by Flanders, the little monster. His appearance really attracted the attention of Liu Erlong, Flanders, and Zhao Wuji from Shrek. Flanders stood up angrily and was about to rush over to question the other party, but soon he was stopped by a burst of exclamations and looked at the field following the voices of the audience. Damn, how can that guy look like this? It's too scary. No wonder he has been wrapping himself up. It turns out he looks so disgusting. Wow, the green hat on that guy's head is so unique. Is it a treasure? It's shining. No, you are so careless that you can still pay attention to the other party's green hat, but I can't. I'm going to vomit first. Tang San's true face shocked everyone. He really looked too creepy. Especially the 6 monsters and others who had been with Tang San for a long time. They were all dumbfounded. They hadn't seen each other for more than half a year, and this guy had become neither human nor ghost. Not to mention them, even Wu Crossing felt nauseous. How did this guy make himself look like this? Not only was his skin purple, but there were also dense pimples everywhere. Anyone with a normal aesthetic would be scared. Ah, Wu Crossing, I want you to die. I want you to die. Listening to the discussions of the crowd, Tang San, who had finally stood up, went completely berserk under the double mental blow. The 8 spider lances appeared, and the original blue-silver grass was also transformed into the clear sky hammer, holding it high and rushing towards Wu Crossing again. Big Sumeru Hammer originally thought that he had reached the level of Soul Douluo and could trample Wu Crossing under his feet, but he didn't expect to be slapped in the face by the opponent again. The world's #1 weapon spirit, the clear sky hammer. Seeing the clear sky hammer in Tang San's hand, the pupils of Emperor Zuyi shrank. The audience was stunned again. Although they didn't know the clear sky hammer, they knew that the twin spirits appeared again. However, before they could come to their senses, they saw another spirit appear on Wu Crossing again. Fuck, Twin martial spirits again. What the hell? Are twin martial spirits free? People were numb, the audience was numb, and most of the spirit masters were not much different. Facing the clear sky hammer that turned into a mountain-sized hammer and smashed down on him, Wood Crossing's expression remained unchanged, and immediately raised his hand in the shock of everyone. What is this little bastard going to do? Catch the clear sky hammer with bare hands? Ling Yuan was also numb when she saw Wood Crossing's actions. Women like Arao and Xiao Wu, who had let go of their hearts, once again raised them up. Tang San was also stunned when he saw Wood Crossing trying to catch his great Sumeru hammer with bare hands, but then he was ecstatic. This guy was so arrogant that he wanted to catch it with his hands, so he would be smashed into a meat pie. But before he could be happy for a few seconds, his face changed. The expected thing of being smashed into pieces of meat did not happen, but he saw that the other party really caught his mountain-sized clear sky hammer steadily. How is it possible? Tang San widened his eyes, unable to believe what he saw. He had already tried his best, he had already given it his all, but why was he still blocked by the opponent, and he caught it with his bare hands? His mentality collapsed, completely collapsed. He desperately absorbed the soul power of others, and made himself neither human nor ghost, and reached the level of soul Douluo as he wished, but in the end he was still trampled and humiliated by the opponent. Catching the clear sky hammer with bare hands does not cause much damage, but the insult is extremely high. But think that's the end? How is it possible? Break it for me, Wood Crossing said in a low voice, caught the clear sky hammer with his bare hands, and immediately grabbed it with force. Crack. The sound of glass breaking rang out, and the huge clear sky hammer, like an egg, was directly crushed by Wood Crossing. Chapter 161 Tang San's death. How is this possible? What kind of power can catch a martial spirit with bare hands? Yes, he actually crushed the clear sky hammer of the world's #1 weapon spirit. The golden spirit ring is so terrifying that even a spirit king can beat a spirit Douluo. Do you know what the golden spirit ring is? Do you know the reason for it? I don't understand. Do you understand? Seeing Wood Crossing catching the clear sky hammer with bare hands like a god of war, and even crushing it directly, all the audience took a breath of cold air. It was really too perverted. Wow. Tang San couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood when the big Sumeru hammer was crushed. But this is not over yet. As Wood Crossing squeezed it hard, it rushed straight towards the opponent with endless airwaves. The terrible power swept Tang San's body, making him scream, and his whole body was like a kite with a broken string, shaking and flying out, flying to the edge of the ring, hitting the protective shield heavily, and sliding down from above. A closer look revealed spider web cracks on the shield, showing the boundless physical strength of Wood Crossing's martial spirit. If it weren't for the shield, Tang San would have already flown out of the ring, and lost his qualification to compete. Douluo, who saw this, came to his senses, and regretted turning on the shield. He should have eliminated this guy. Even so, as a referee, she rolled her eyes and thought of an idea. She still had the corresponding authority. Although such a thing had never happened before, she didn't know how to judge it. After all, it was rare to turn on the shield. Even if there was a similar thing, she had never seen a spirit master hit by the shield. But just as she picked up the microphone and was about to use her authority to judge Tang San out, something strange happened. Tang San, who had been injured continuously, finally stood up and listened to the contempt of the audience everywhere. The humiliation and unwillingness in his heart gave him a vicious idea. He took out his Tang sect hidden weapon regardless of the rules of the competition. His eyes flashed with the last madness, and a drop of white water suddenly surged, emitting a dazzling light under the urging of soul power. Tang Sect's #1, Guanyin Tears. It took him more than half a year to create the strongest hidden weapon of Tang Sect, after failing to defeat the opponent in the Rain of Pear Blossom Needles. Although it was on the competition field at this moment, the power of Guanyin Tears was very great. As long as it was activated, everyone on the ring would be affected. However, he could not care so much now. As long as he could kill the opponent, these rules were shit in his eyes. Wood Crossing, I want you to die, and I want your woman to be buried with me. Tang San roared. His hands had turned into jade, and he was quickly urging the water drops in his hands. Tang San, you have violated the rules. Stop it now. Hearing Tang San's words, Dao Dao knew that things were not going well and immediately scolded. However, Tang San had already lost his mind, so how could he stop? Guanai in tears. Under his urging, the water drops burst into light in vain, turning into white light with 360 degrees without dead angles, and shot out in all directions. When watching Tang San activating the Guanai in tears, Wu Crossing's pupils shrank. If it was just him, he wouldn't have to worry about the Tang sect's hidden weapons. But now that his women were on the field, they couldn't resist the opponent's hidden weapons, not to mention the 81st level spirit power. Invincible golden body. In an instant, Wu Crossing used the same soft bone rabbit martial spirit as Arao and Xiao Wu, and his body flashed, protecting his woman, the members of the team, and the Dao Dao in the air behind him. Even if it's the invincible golden body, it still has to die. Tang San sneered. His Guanai in tears were able to kill gods. Although the invincible golden body was immune to all physical damage, it was only relative. But then, something unexpected happened to him. The cone-like tears, which could originally penetrate everything, he could imagine the scene of the opponent's heart being pierced, were actually blocked in front of him in the end, unable to penetrate half of the opponent's body. It was as if the opponent's body seemed to have an indestructible body. Impossible. Seeing that his last trump card was blocked by the opponent, Tang San's eyes almost popped out. His Guanai in tears can kill gods. Even if there were strong people who had reached the extreme of horizontal training in their previous lives, they would not dare to resist this attack. However, the opponent was not only unscathed, but even the golden light on his body was not broken. Nothing is impossible. Tang sect's hidden weapons are just things that can't be put on the table. Wu Crossing replied coldly, and then his figure flashed and appeared in front of Tang San. Wu Crossing changed his palm into a claw, pinched Tang San's neck, and slowly lifted him up. In an instant, Tang San felt a suffocating feeling filling his body, making him unable to breathe. His whole face was flushed red. He wanted to struggle, but found that he couldn't get away no matter what. Referee, I want to accuse the opponent of murdering others in the game. At the same time, seeing Tang San being pinched by the throat, Yu Xiao Gang, a fence sitter, immediately stood up and shouted angrily. He still needed to rely on Tang San to shock the continent. How could he watch his apprentice die? However, his shouting was met with the sneers of countless people, and Dao Dao looked on indifferently, as if he had not heard anything. That guy really had the nerve to say such words. Tang San had just used the Avalakites Veriteers, which had seriously violated the rules, and had also pierced his teammates' bodies, making them silent. Now he turned around, and said that Wu Crossing wanted to murder them. Where was his face? In the field, the 6 members of Wuhun Academy had already died completely. They were not so lucky to be rescued by Wu Crossing in the first time, and thus were killed by the Avalakites Veriteers. If it were not for Wu Crossing, Dao Dao herself would probably have become a cold corpse now. She was still in shock, so how could she stand up and speak? Tang San, you can die in peace. Wu Crossing said expressionlessly, and stopped talking nonsense, exerting a little force in his hands. No. Tang San's pupils dilated, and he shouted in his heart. The breath of death spread all over his body. He was panicked and scared. But now he was strangled by the other party, and even if he wanted to beg for mercy, he couldn't say a word. Crack. A sound of bones breaking was heard. Tang San, who had been staring with eyes wide open, had his pupils dilated. His struggling body also stopped moving at this moment, and slowly slid down from Wu Crossing's arms. Looking at Tang San, who had lost his life, and stared with eyes wide open, Wu Crossing threw him to the ground in disgust, like throwing away garbage. He directly broke Tang San's neck. From then on, the most hypocritical and double-standard protagonist in the 10,000 Worlds also came to an end. Chapter 160 to the Clown Yu Xiao Gang. After Wu Crossing broke Tang San's neck, he was on high alert. After all, this guy's father had been hiding in the dark to protect him. Seeing that he had killed his son, he would definitely jump out. But he waited for a long time, and did not see Tang Heo show up, which made Wu Crossing a little stunned. What's going on? Tang Heo is not here? Or he didn't come to the Great Soul Fighting Arena, thinking that according to the rules of the competition, no one dared to kill his son? Ling Yuan and A Rao in the audience also became alert at the first time, ready to deal with any sudden situation at any time. Similarly, the two women observed for a long time, but did not find any trace of Tang Heo, and did not even detect the fluctuation of soul power. Obviously, Tang Heo was not hiding in the dark, otherwise he would not be indifferent to the killing of his son. On the contrary, Yu Xiao Gang, looking at the dead Tang San, was furious. He kept shouting that Wu Crossing had murdered others, constantly complained about the injustice of the referee, and even protested to the Snowy Night Emperor, Ning Fengzi, and Platinum Leader Seraph in the VIP seat. But no matter how he shouted, complained, or protested, no one paid attention to him, and no one even paid attention to him. Many people even looked at him like a clown. What a joke. Wu Crossing's strength and talent completely exceeded everyone's imagination. Many forces and many sects, including the Snowy Night Emperor, are now thinking about how to win him over and let him join the empire and the sect. As for the rules of the competition that were violated, the weak will be bound by the rules, but the strong will not be restricted. Besides, Tang San violated the rules first, so it was not Wu Crossing's turn to be punished. Even Ceres had thought of an excuse for Wu Crossing. Tang San had seriously violated the rules of the competition and wanted to kill all the spirit masters on the field, including the referee. In order to control the development of the situation, he had no choice but to kill his opponent. Not only did he not do anything wrong, but he was meritorious. He felt that the imperial organizers should reward Wu Crossing. If it weren't for him, the members of the Xiandao royal team too, including the referee, would probably have been killed. In the face of Ceres's remarks, Emperor Zuyi also nodded, agreeing with the other party's point of view for the first time. Ning Fengzi, let alone, Wu Crossing is his future son-in-law. How could he speak for Yu Xiao Gang? Listening to the remarks of Platinum Leader Ceres, Yu Xiao Gang almost spit out a mouthful of blood and shouted angrily, "You are taking it out of context. You are covering up." Ah. Bang. Before Yu Xiao Gang could finish his loud words, a figure appeared in front of him, kicked him hard, and kicked him out, hitting him directly against the wall. After a closer look, who else could it be if it wasn't Liu Erlang who made this move? She hated evil as much as she hated evil. When she saw Yu Xiao Gang, this ungrateful person, this fence sitter, was still yelling, she was annoyed and could no longer hold back her rage, so she took action decisively. Liu Erlang, what are you doing? Yu Xiao Gang felt a sweetness in his throat, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. When he finally recovered and saw that it was Liu Erlang, he roared at him again. Yu Xiao Gang, if you keep barking like a dog, don't blame me for killing you regardless of friendship. Liu Erlang was furious, and her whole body was emitting black air. At this time, she could be said to be extremely angry. She had never seen such a disgusting and grateful person, a fence sitter. She used to think that this cousin was talented and a gentleman, but now she just felt sick. At this time, Flanders also came forward and looked at Yu Xiao Gang's embarrassed appearance. He didn't say a word, but there was also a look of disappointment in his eyes. Since the other party left Shrek Academy for Tang San and abandoned the remaining 6 monsters, the Golden Iron Triangle has been dead in name only. The friendship and life and death in the past are now a joke in his eyes. He is ashamed to be associated with such a hypocritical guy. He wanted to ask the other party why he left, but after the other party's shouting, he has completely recognized Yu Xiao Gang's character. He didn't want to ask anything, and even stepped on the other party hard before giving up. He was really blind at the beginning, calling him a brother, but he was just using him to make a name for himself. Facing the furious Liu Erlang and Flanders who kicked him, Yu Xiao Gang's eyes showed a hint of viciousness. But he knew that he couldn't say anything now. Both of them were angry at the moment. He knew that if he continued, Liu Erlang would definitely dare to take action here in front of countless spectators and countless soul masters. He knew this woman too well. He lowered his head silently and could only shut his mouth in frustration, waiting for a chance to slowly retaliate in the future. He firmly believed that, if the Green Mountains are there, there will be no shortage of firewood. This little episode was treated as a joke by everyone, and no one meant to take it too seriously. As for Wu crossing in the field, he was sure that Tang Heo was not in the great soul fighting arena until Dao Dao reacted and announced the victory of Shai and Dao Team 2, and he did not see Tang Heo show up. How could he know that the reason why Tang Heo did not show up was entirely because of the filial piety of the little pie? He, a dignified titled Douluo, was like a sickly person, groaning in a hotel somewhere. He was fine yesterday and even felt that his life was more vigorous than ever before, but when he woke up today, he found that he was weak all over, sweating coldly, and his face was pale, as if he was about to die at any time. In the sound of Dao Dao's announcement, Wu Crossing came back to his senses, and then left the ring under the warm applause of the audience. "Hubby, you're so awesome." As soon as they got off the stage and entered the passage, Suruoxi and the other two girls couldn't wait to say, "Didn't you know it a long time ago?" Wu Crossing said with a smile, but from his half-smiley expression, it can be seen that the awesomeness he said was not the same as the awesomeness Suruoxi and the other two girls said. Sure enough, hearing what their man said, the three girls blushed. Looking at the looks of the three girls, Wu Crossing smiled again, and then said seriously, "I told you a long time ago that my husband's strength can deal with that little jerk. Now you believe it, right?" "Yeah." The three girls nodded. "Then why did you not trust my husband so much just now?" Wu Crossing raised his eyebrows when he saw it. The three girls lowered their heads after hearing this. They were indeed shocked by Tang San's strength just now, but they were also worried about their men, fearing that he would be hurt. Of course, Wu Crossing also knew what the three women were thinking, so he was not really angry, but wanted to use this as an excuse to achieve some dirty idea. He pretended to be angry and said, "You don't trust your husband, and you make your husband very disappointed. I must punish you tonight." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, A Date with Dao Dao. When Wu Crossing returned to the spectator seats, he was greeted by a crowd of strange looks. "When did you get that million-year spirit ring?" Ling Yuan asked suspiciously. She had been serving the little man in front of her for the past few months, but she didn't know when he absorbed it. And although she was a titled Douluo, she had never seen a million-year spirit ring. After all, 100,000-year spirit ring was something she had always dreamed of. However, Erao, who was a spirit beast, knew that the golden spirit ring was a million-year spirit ring. "A month ago, after I updated the diary, I saw you running away." Wu Crossing spread his hands and answered casually, "Running away?" Hearing Wu Crossing's words, countless question marks popped up in the minds of the girls, and they looked at Ling Yuan curiously. However, after hearing Wu Crossing's answer, Ling Yuan's charming face flushed. She finally understood why she didn't know. This little man was just like an animal in that aspect. She complained bitterly after several torments. There were indeed a few days every month when she was daunted. As soon as it was night, she ran to the next room to be close to Erao. She even suspected that this guy was not a human. She, a titled Douluo, could not withstand his output. She originally thought that Suruoxi and the others entered the mimicry and practiced hard, and she could occupy the little man alone. In the end, she realized that it was impossible to occupy him privately for a long time. The strength of this little bastard would make a woman doubt her life. Maybe that was because the other party had said before that the Douluo world was a hydrogen world. If she wanted to compete with it, she had to at least transcend this world, but she was afraid that she would have no hope in this life. Ahem. Seeing the girl's gazes, Ling Yuan pretended to cough to ease the embarrassment in her heart, and then changed the subject and said, "You killed Tang San. His father will definitely take revenge after knowing it. Don't run around during this period." Wu Crossing didn't intend to point out Ling Yuan's diversion of everyone's attention. It was enough for both parties to understand the joy of the boudoir. If he said it out, how could he make the other party obey him in the future? But when it comes to not running around, Wu Crossing is in trouble. He said embarrassedly, "Can we discuss that?" Since adding many diary holders the day before yesterday, they have been sending him messages through diary friends, wanting to ask themselves out to play. After several struggles and several rejections, it's not that he is not determined. It's true that those girls are too enthusiastic and give too much. He agreed to it. Now telling him not to run around is not embarrassing me, fat tiger. If I had known earlier, I would have kept Tangsen alive for a few days. Now he is dead, and he can't rest in peace. What are you going to do? Ling Yuan raised her eyebrows and looked at Wood Crossing with a glowing look. Didn't the ladies invite me to go over and interact with them? Wood Crossing did not hide his intention to be a woman and answered generously. Everyone is the owner of the diary copy. It is impossible not to interact and communicate after being invited several times. The women who heard Wood Crossing's words twitched their foreheads, and Ling Yuan rolled her eyes and said, "You are really frank." She didn't say that it's not enough for you to have us, because everyone was actually the same at the beginning, and no one was better than anyone else, but it was inevitable to be jealous. What's more, doing so would offend a group of diary holders, and if they were collectively boycotted by them, it would be more trouble than gain. Of course. Wood Crossing patted his chest with a sincere face. Looking at Wood Crossing's funny appearance, Ling Yuan was speechless again, and could only keep a closer eye on him when the time comes. At night, Qiandao City was brightly lit, and the flow of people was no less than that during the day. The preliminaries need to be held for a month. Whether it is the contestants, the accompanying members, or many people, they all gather here. Even outside the city, many people have set up temporary camps. These are all because they want to watch the game, but all the places to live in the city are full, so they have to sleep outside. It is enough to see how attractive the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the whole continent is. Wood Crossing, who came out of Yuxun, opened his diary panel and sent a message to a diary holder who had made an appointment before. On the friend list, Dao Dao, the woman who runs through the Soto Soul Fighting Arena and the Qiandao Division preliminaries and the host and part-time referee, is displayed. Miss Dao Dao, I came out of Yuxun. Where should we meet? Less than 2 seconds after Wood Crossing sent the message, Dao Dao's reply came. I also came out of Qiandao Hotel. Let's meet at the main road in the west of the city. Okay, see you later. Wood Crossing looked at Dao Dao's message and typed a line of words with a smile. Dao Dao, who has appeared in many animes, no less than supporting roles, but has not been introduced too much, is still very much looking forward to the date between the two. Previously, because of the principle of fairness and justice in the arena, in order to maintain her professionalism, the two sides did not communicate too much. Anyway, if the two appear to be very close, the audience will misunderstand that the other party is unfair on the field. But it is different at night. The other party does not have to deliberately maintain her profession and can be herself. After all, she is also a woman and has her own life besides work. It is not far from Yuxun to the main road on the west side of Qiandao City. Wood Crossing is not the first time to visit Qiandao City. The approximate route has been mastered. In less than 10 minutes, he arrived at the agreed location. Wood Crossing, here. As soon as he came to the main road, he heard a particularly familiar sweet voice not far away. Looking in the direction of the voice, it was Dao Dao, who was smiling and waving at Wood Crossing at this time. Wood Crossing also smiled and nodded at her slightly, then walked towards her position. When he came in front of her and saw Dao Dao's dress, his eyes suddenly lit up. Now, she has changed out of her work clothes and put on a white short skirt, showing her slender figure. Her neat short hair and bangs make her look smart and capable. The flesh-colored stockings and black high heels show the elegance of a woman. The professional smile on her face makes people feel like spring breeze. Of course, her unique voice seems to be able to attract people and stir people's heartstrings. Anyway, just listening to her voice, Wood Crossing felt that he was going to get lost. He didn't know how tempting it was when doing certain things. I'm afraid that the intracranial orgasm was just like this. Hello, Miss Dao Dao. Wood Crossing stretched out his hand and greeted politely. When Dao Dao saw her, she showed a very comfortable smile on her face, and at the same time, stretched out her hand to shake it, and smiled. Wood Crossing, you don't have to be so formal with me in private, just call me Dao Dao directly. Okay. Wu Crossing nodded, and his eyes swept over Dao Dao again, and he was even more amazed in his heart. Chapter 164 Dao Dao's Wish. Although Dao Dao was designed as just a passerby character in the anime, her appearance and figure are impeccable, and her facial features are very much like those of a little girl. In addition, she also gives people a very pure and lustful style. It is estimated that anyone who sees this type of little girl will like her, and Wu Crossing is no exception. He couldn't help but look at her a few more times. Dao Dao's fair and pretty face flushed with the look of Wu Crossing looking at her, but a hint of joy flashed in her heart, and at the same time she was sure of her charm. You know, the owner of the diary has written nearly 300 diaries, and never mentioned her from beginning to end. She thought that she was not beautiful enough, not charming enough, and could not catch the other party's eyes. But now it seems that this is not the case, which makes her more confident. No wonder Dao Dao thinks so. Which woman doesn't care about her appearance and charm? This is a common point for every woman. Wu Crossing, thank you for what happened today. Dao Dao's eyes narrowed slightly with joy. In the daytime battle, Tang Xin used the Tang sect hidden weapon Guanyin Tears. If Wu Crossing hadn't taken action to protect her behind him at the first time, I'm afraid she would not be able to escape death. Although she, as a referee, has a defensive soul guide made by the god of craftsmanship, it is difficult to block the tears of Guanyin. This is why she is only a soul master, but she can host various competitions. We are all pen pals, and it is right to help each other. Wu Crossing smiled and replied, just a pen pal relationship? Don't you have any other ideas? Dao Dao's mouth corners slightly raised, and his smart eyes flickered as he looked at Wu Crossing and joked. In addition to being saved by the other party today, she actually has some thoughts about the owner of the diary. That is, the other party is destined to become a legend in many worlds, and Douluo is just his starting point. And her dream is to hope that she can host the most grand competition in the world. She enjoys the feeling of being illuminated by the lights and stirs everyone's heartstrings. In the words of Wu Crossing's previous life, it is the desire to become a host and star that everyone pays attention to and hopes that the world can achieve peace in this way. Her white dove martial spirit symbolizes beauty and peace. Therefore, for Wu Crossing, the owner of the diary, she wants to seize this opportunity to realize her wish. In the past, due to her limitations, she wanted to become the most dazzling host in Douluo Continent. However, after passing the diary copy, her horizons have been opened wider and wider. Now she wants to take the 10,000 worlds as her goal. Wu Crossing didn't know Dao Dao's thoughts, nor did he know Dao Dao's wishes. Hearing the other party's joke, he couldn't help but laugh and said, Miss Dao Dao is so beautiful. If I say I don't have any ideas, do you believe it? No. Dao Dao smiled. Judging from the content updated by the other party in the diary copy, the other party can be said to have no immunity to beautiful women. That's it. Wu Crossing laughed and didn't take the other party's words to heart. Dao Dao laughed, then naturally took Wu Crossing's arm and said, let's go, Wu Crossing. I've been in Xiandao City for a few days. I haven't seen the night market here. Take me for a walk. Although she knew that, if she took the initiative to throw herself into the arms of the other party, she would definitely not mind, but at least she should cultivate feelings before that. If she gave herself away too directly, it would be too unrestrained. Okay. Wu Crossing nodded, not caring about the other party's dribbling and rubbing against others. Handsome men and beautiful women are the most eye-catching, no matter where they go. However, because it is night, it is not as obvious as in the daytime. Except for the people passing by who are a little surprised and wondering if they have seen each other before, there is no crowd watching. After all, most of the people who go out to shop at night are just ordinary spectators. They are far away in the stadium. Even if they can see clearly through the big screen, they are not sure that they are each other at night. And those sitting in the VIP seats are people with status. They know Dao Dao and Wu Crossing, but these people will not come out to hang out easily. As for the contestants, they still have to prepare for the competition. How can they be as relaxed as Wu Crossing? In fact, Dao Dao is also busy. She will also host the competition tomorrow. It is only for the date with Wu Crossing that she will come out of the hotel where she is staying. The night market in Xiandao City is already brilliantly lit, especially the competition held every 5 years. The crowds are surging and lively. Countless vendors are also taking advantage of this time to make a fortune. So along the way, there were street stalls on both sides of the street, and shouts everywhere. I don't know if every woman in the world likes to go shopping. Dao Dao is the same. She took Wu Crossing's arm and looked at this street stall and that street stall. From time to time, she would take some small items for sale and ask him if they were good looking. Looking at Dao Dao, she was like a little girl, which was a huge contrast with her job. Wu Crossing, what's wrong? As if she noticed Wu Crossing's strange look, Dao Dao put down the small item in her hand. No, nothing. Wu Crossing shook his head. He naturally wouldn't say that the other party's current appearance was inconsistent with the identity of the host. Seeing Wu Crossing shaking his head, Dao Dao didn't think much about it. Soon he came to another stall and picked up new things. About half an hour later, the two came to a store. Dao Dao stopped and said, Wu Crossing, let's go in and take a look. Wu Crossing looked up and found that this was a place selling high heels. He didn't have time to be stunned and subconsciously looked at the high heels that Dao Dao was wearing. Women should pay attention to their appearance, especially for a host like me, who can't always wear the same pair of high heels. Seeing Wu Crossing's reaction, Dao Dao couldn't help but explain. Of course, there are many pairs of high heels in her hotel, but there are fewer stockings. She rarely wore stockings before, and she wore flesh-colored stockings on purpose this time, to cater to Wu Crossing. As a host, she often contacts so many audiences, and knows what those men think. The reason why she said this is that she noticed that the other party's eyes were always staring at her legs intentionally or unintentionally, so when she passed by a shoe store, an idea came to her mind. Since the other party wants to see it, and it feels reasonable, so as not to make him embarrassed, why not go directly to the shoe store and give the other party a chance to see enough? Not to mention seeing it, even if he wants to touch it, she will not refuse. When she goes out to date the other party, she decides to give it to him for free. But it is easier to succeed if you arouse the other party's desire before giving it to him for free. It must be said that as a host, Dao Dao not only knows how to exaggerate the atmosphere of the stadium, but also knows how to arouse men's lust. Chapter 165 Delicate Feet. Entering the shoe store, the waiter quickly came up to greet her enthusiastically. This period of time is the best time for business. When the Soul Master competition is over, and the flow of people disperses, it will gradually become deserted. No one who does business wants to miss the golden period. Besides, women accompanied by men are generally potential customers. As long as nothing goes wrong, they can be sold. Even if they work harder and speak sweetly, they can sell several pairs. The waiter will naturally not miss this opportunity. However, when she came forward and saw the two people entering the store clearly, she was slightly stunned and then asked excitedly, Are you Miss Dao Dao? Yes. Dao Dao nodded. It was not surprising to be recognized. The lights in the store were very bright, unlike outside. Even if the lights were brilliant, they were covered by the night. I didn't expect to see you here, Miss Dao Dao. I'm your fan. Can I ask you for an autograph? The waiter who got the confirmation said happily again, with expectation in his eyes. If it were normal, if Dao Dao saw her fans, she would probably give her autographs, but now she was dating Wu Crossing, and she didn't want to be disturbed by other things. I didn't bring a pen. Let's do it another day. Dao Dao politely refused the other party's request. The waitress was a little disappointed when she heard this, but she was not a woman who knew nothing. She knew that Dao Dao was rejecting her, so she didn't say that there were pens in the store. Although her request for an autograph was rejected, the waitress still said enthusiastically, Miss Dao Dao, let me introduce you to the new high heels in the store. No, go and do your own thing. I'll take a look at it myself first. I'll call you when I see something I like. Dao Dao refused the other party's kindness. What a joke. She came into the store just to show Wu Crossing enough. If there was a light bulb hanging around next to her, how could he appreciate it? Not to mention whether she could open her eyes or not. Even Wu Crossing would probably not be embarrassed to keep staring at her. Okay, Miss Dao Dao, please come in. At this time, the waitress in front of her finally understood that Miss Dao Dao had a close relationship with the man in front of her. She secretly glanced at Wu Crossing from the corner of her eye. This man was very handsome and matched Miss Dao Dao very well. It seemed that she had seen him somewhere before, but she just couldn't think of it for a while. After the waiter left, Wu Crossing smiled and said to Dao Dao, "It seems that you are very famous. Every woman you meet is your fan. That's not comparable to you. I'm just popular among ordinary people. You are much more famous than me in the eyes of those VIPs." Hearing Wu Crossing's joke, Dao Dao rolled his eyes at him. What she said was true. 100,000-year soul ring, plus an unknown golden soul ring, and the strength of a soul-king crushing soul Douluo. If Yuxuan was not the place where the Cheyenne Dao royal family cultivated court etiquette, I'm afraid those families and sects would have broken through the door long ago. Coming to the shoe rack, Dao Dao glanced at the shoes on it. There were a variety of styles, and she stopped for a while, before turning back to Wu Crossing and said, "Wu Crossing, which one do you think is better looking? I don't know much about high heels." Wu Crossing looked at the high heels on the rack and shook his head. As for which one is good looking, and which one he likes more, he thinks they are all good looking. With Dao Dao's figure and slender legs, they can be easily controlled. I didn't ask you if you understand it or not. You can choose any style that you think is beautiful according to your aesthetic sense. Dao Dao rolled his eyes at Wu Crossing again. Seeing Dao Dao rolling his eyes, Wu Crossing pretended to think for a while, then pointed to the silver crystal stiletto heels on the shelf beside him and said, "This one, it matches your profession very well. I don't know what material it is made of, it looks silver and shiny, which is very suitable for Dao Dao's identity as a host." Okay. Dao Dao took it down without saying a word, then sat down on the cushion beside him, and then took off her original black high heels, revealing her delicate and exquisite jade feet. I don't know if it was intentional, but after taking off her shoes, Dao Dao deliberately stretched her long legs, and 5 small and cute toes painted with red nail polish were instantly exposed to Wu Crossing's field of vision, which made him dry his mouth. I didn't expect that Dao Dao also painted nail polish on her feet. As if she noticed Wu Crossing's swallowing, Dao Dao's heart flashed with joy, and then she slowly put on the pair of silver crystal high heels that Wu Crossing just mentioned. After putting them on, she stood up from the cushion, turned a few circles in front of Wu Crossing, and asked, "Wu Crossing, how is it? Do you look good?" "Look good?" Wu Crossing nodded heavily, breathing a little hurriedly. With such slender legs and such high heels, he can play for years. There is no way his immunity to beautiful women wearing high heels can be said to be zero. In fact, in Wu Crossing's eyes, stockings with high heels are the ultimate visual impact, and single stockings or single high heels are always a little bit less. And now, Dao Dao not only wears the whole set, but also has top-notch legs. How can it not attract his attention? I wish she could grow on them. Seeing Wu Crossing's reaction, Dao Dao was even happier and said, "Then pick a few more pairs for me. Since he wants to see enough, how can she just wear one pair?" Okay. This time, Wu Crossing agreed very readily, not knowing that he had fallen into Dao Dao's provocation. Of course, even if he knew, he would still enjoy it. Anyway, he didn't lose out. Wu Crossing came to the shoe rack, looked at the high heels on it, and thought of Dao Dao's flawless legs. He swallowed unconsciously again, and then took a pair of black fishmouth high heels and a pair of white high-heeled sandals with bow ties. Back in front of the cushion, Wu Crossing handed the shoes to Dao Dao and said, "I'm not very good at choosing. I don't know if you are satisfied. I like everything you pick." Dao Dao's sexy cherry mouth curled up and replied. Wu Crossing paused. The other party had already made it clear. As an old scumbag, he knew what Dao Dao meant. The other party was expressing his feelings for him in disguise. Maybe something is likely to happen tonight. In an instant, his whole heart began to look forward to it. Following the same method, Dao Dao first changed into fishmouth high heels, revealing 3 toes on her toes. The looming picture raised her sexiness to a higher level. Wu Crossing couldn't take his eyes off her and wanted to grab her in his hands and play with her. As if she could sense Wu Crossing's thoughts, Dao Dao sat down again, placed her legs across his thighs, shook them a few times and said, "Wu Crossing, please help me change those high-heeled sandals. I've tried a few pairs and my feet are a little tired." "Tried a few pairs? My feet are a little tired? Isn't this a lie?" She only changed 2 pairs in total. It's obvious that she wants to take advantage of him and serve him. Damn woman, she has so many little tricks. Wu Crossing thought so in his heart, but his body had already honestly grabbed Dao Dao's exquisite feet. Chapter 166. All I want is for you to wear shoes. He gently held Dao Dao's white ankles, lifted her small and delicate jade feet, took off the fish mouth high heels, and exposed her feet painted with red nails again. Although wrapped in flesh-colored silk, the touch was very comfortable, which made Wu Crossing rein in his horse and his appetite was greatly stimulated. No, it was lust that almost sprayed a nosebleed. It is said that beautiful girls exude fragrance all over their bodies, even the other person's little feet are no exception. There is no peculiar smell, but there is a faint fragrance of petals. After taking off the shoes, he put on the pair of white butterfly strap high-heeled sandals for her. Wu Crossing said, "Okay, try it." Because Dao Dao was only focused on watching Wu Crossing carefully put on shoes for her, her eyes were a little blurry at this time. She only reacted after hearing this, and a blush appeared on her face involuntarily. Withdrawing her feet with satisfaction, Dao Dao stood up from the cushion, and walked back and forth in front of Wu Crossing again with her long beautiful legs stepping on the high-heeled sandals that had just been put on her. "How is it?" Dao Dao lowered her head slightly, staring at her feet, and asked Wu Crossing. "It looks good." What else could Wu Crossing say? Of course, he praised from the bottom of his heart. With the other party's flawless beautiful legs, what shoes would not look good? Hearing this, Dao Dao felt happy in his heart, and then tried to ask, "Then I will buy these few pairs?" "Yes." Wu Crossing nodded. Seeing Wu Crossing nod, Dao Dao called the waiter just now, but when it came to paying, it was still Wu Crossing who took the initiative to pay. After all, as a gentleman, how can a man date a woman and let the other party spend money? What's more, the other party is to satisfy his fantasy, so Dao Dao can't pay. Wu Crossing is not stupid. After a series of things, from the other party asking her to choose by herself, to asking him to help her put on, and the posture of always showing her attractive legs in front of him, he already understood who the other party did this for. After coming out of the shoe store, half an hour had passed unknowingly, and Wu Crossing had also seen enough for half an hour. He originally thought that the matter would end here, but then there were constant surprises. Dao Dao took him to the stocking store and bought dozens of pairs of stockings. It is said that men also have a special liking for stockings, and they like to tear them violently. Although I don't know if Wu Crossing is like this, it is better to be prepared. As a result, Wu Crossing was once again satisfied with his eyes. Black silk, white silk, flesh silk, all packed. Fishing net liquid socks, over the knee, or not over the knee, one piece, all bought in doubles. Facts have proved that Dao Dao's decision was very correct, because in the days that followed, she found that Wu Crossing not only liked it, but simply couldn't let it go, and he would not stop until he tore a few pairs each time. It was already late when they left the stocking store. Even in Xiandao City, the capital of the Xiandao Empire, even during the lively stage of the all-continent high-level Soul Master competition, the flow of people on the streets began to become sparse. After sending Dao Dao back to Xiandao Hotel, Wu Crossing was planning to go back to Yuxun, but was stopped by him. Wu Crossing, accompany Dao Dao tonight. Dao Dao looked at Wu Crossing with a hint of expectation in his eyes. Isn't this inappropriate? Wu Crossing was a little hesitant. It was the first date, and he wanted him to stay overnight. You know, even Ruoxi spent several days together in Sunset's forest, before returning to Xiandao Royal Academy, to throw herself into his arms. It was the first day of the date, and he asked him to stay overnight. Isn't this, happiness comes too fast? Should he agree? Or agree? So tangled. Just as he was hesitating, Dao Dao's words rang in his ears, instantly making him tremble all over, and his legs were a little weak. Okay, Wu Crossing, please. Seeing Dao Dao hesitate, he immediately pretended to be pitiful, and his tone was soft and prolonged. Okay. After a second of ideological struggle, Wu Crossing finally agreed. Dao Dao's soft tone and eager eyes really couldn't be blamed on his lack of firmness. It was because any man couldn't refuse. Not to mention him, any reader with a firm mind would be moved by Dao Dao's pleading, right? Hearing Wu Crossing's agreement, Dao Dao's pitiful look turned into a smile. She opened her arms and said, "Then carry me upstairs, room 303. Wu Crossing looked at Dao Dao's open arms, looking like a spoiled child. After a second of ideological struggle, he made another difficult compromise. Anyway, they were staying to accompany her overpass, so a hug was nothing. As a last resort, Wu Crossing stretched out one hand to hold Dao Dao's slender waist and passed one hand through her calf bend and picked up Dao Dao in a very standard princess hug and walked towards the stairs of the hotel under her guidance. Fortunately, it was already late and no one was walking around except the front desk, otherwise they would definitely be discovered. The most beautiful goddess in the hearts of countless viewers was actually held in an ambiguous way by a guy. The goddess was not only not unhappy, but also stretched out her arms to hook the other's neck and looked at him with a dazed face. I'm afraid her heart would be broken into pieces. When he came to room 303, Wu Crossing wanted to put Dao Dao down, but found that the other party had no intention of letting go. I have a room card in my pocket, Dao Dao said before Wu Crossing could speak. Helplessly, Wu Crossing had to tiptoe, support Dao Dao's body with his thighs, and reach out to search. After some groping, he successfully took out the room card. With a slight mechanical sound, Wu Crossing pushed open the door of the room and walked in with Dao Dao in his arms. As soon as he entered the hotel room, Wu Crossing closed the door of the room with his legs and saw pairs of shiny shoes placed on the shoe rack in front of the door. Sure enough, as he expected, this woman went to the shoe store to buy shoes and to the stocking store to buy socks. In fact, all to satisfy her lust. A woman is willing to please him in a roundabout way, so why should he hesitate? As the largest hotel in Xiandao City, the room is very large and extremely luxurious. Wu Crossing hugged Dao Dao and walked into the inner room. Only then was she willing to get down from him, but the lotus arm that was hooked around his neck did not mean to loosen. When Wu Crossing was puzzled, he lowered his head slightly and saw a pair of sexy little mouths approaching. Before he could react, his mouth was blocked by the other's red lips. Originally, Wu Crossing was aroused by buying shoes and stockings, and there was a sign of an explosion. At this moment, he was kissed by Dao Dao, and he couldn't hold it back in an instant. Then he responded deeply, and the hand he pulled out began to wander instinctively. I don't know how long they kissed. The two people who were originally in the hall came down to the bedroom, while Dao Dao kissed and guided them, and then they both fell on the bed. Wu Crossing's big hand that had been wandering on the other person's body turned to touch the flawless legs wrapped in flesh-colored silk. Wait, Wu Crossing, let me take off my shoes first. Seeing that Wu Crossing was about to go into battle ahead of time, Dao Dao, who had let go of her red lips, panted and said with blurred eyes. Now, she was still wearing the white strap butterfly high-heeled sandals that Wu Crossing had changed for her. No, I want you to look like you're wearing shoes, Wu Crossing said softly and kissed Dao Dao again. Do you think Dao Dao has too many scenes? Chapter 167. In the early morning, before the sun rose, a beautiful figure slowly woke up in room 303 of Xiandao Hotel. Dao Dao looked at the man who was still sleeping beside her, and a hint of sweetness flashed through her heart. She did not expect to become Wu Crossing's woman, because he was so outstanding that she felt inferior to him, and felt that she was not worthy of him. Perhaps only the most outstanding women in the heavens could be worthy of him. People like Keisha, Liu Shen, and Ruthless Emperor should be his spouse, and she only hoped that he could remember her in his heart. Carefully lifting the quilt, revealing the pair of beautiful legs wrapped in flesh-colored stockings she wore yesterday, but the originally intact stockings were now a little tattered. Thinking of Wu Crossing's rough tearing yesterday, Dao Dao's face did not have time to flash a little blush. Unexpectedly, he, who usually behaved modestly, was very excited in this regard. Sure enough, men have a special liking for stockings, and even he is no exception. Putting aside the thoughts of last night, Dao Dao put down her feet and just wanted to get up, but her eyebrows frowned because there was some pain in her lower abdomen. Yesterday was her first time. Although she was not an ordinary person, with the support of soul power, her physical fitness was slightly better, but she was not as good as Ling Yuan. As for Zhao, it goes without saying that she was a 100,000-year-old soul beast incarnation, and her body was not comparable to that of ordinary humans. Not to mention Lingyuan and Xiaohu. Even compared with Su Ruoxi, Du Guan, and Yi Lingling, there is a gap. At that time, they all rested for a long time, but Dao Dao only slept for less than 2 hours. It is conceivable that she would feel uncomfortable. It is normal. But if it affects her image as the host of the game, it will not be good. Dao Dao's action of getting up also caused Wu Crossing to wake up. He looked out the window and saw that the sky had just brightened, so he asked, "Why don't you sleep a little longer? I still have to host the game later, and I need to prepare for the work." Dao Dao turned around and answered. Wu Crossing, who heard this, was a little worried and asked, "Can we not go and let the host of the Xiandao Great Soul Arena take over for a day? He was very gentle yesterday, and Dao Dao's voice could make him so excited, so he handed in the white flag relatively quickly. If it were a normal situation, not to mention whether Dao Dao could wake up so early, even Lingyuan couldn't do it. It is estimated that among his current women, only Xiaohu could barely do it. Of course, this is a normal situation. If Wu Crossing goes all out, he dare not imagine it. He himself doesn't know where his limit is. Dao Dao shook his head and said, "No, it will damage his image." This time, the competition in the Xiandao competition area was also obtained by her through many interviews and 5 levels of siege. She didn't want to leave any bad records for her career because of this. Seeing Dao Dao like this, Wu Crossing didn't persuade her anymore. He knew that Dao Dao loved his profession. He respected Dao Dao's decision, but when he saw that Dao Dao's walking posture was a little wrong after getting up, he said, "Dao Dao, let me rub it for you." "Yeah." Dao Dao nodded subconsciously. Although she didn't know that Wu Crossing had a full martial spirit, there should still be a way to relieve the discomfort in her lower abdomen. Wu Crossing immediately propped up his hands and sat up straight. With his soul power activated, a faint light appeared in his hands. These dots of light, like starlight, penetrated into Dao Dao's body along his palm. After stroking for a while, Dao Dao felt that the discomfort disappeared, replaced by relaxation. After resolving the discomfort, Dao Dao immediately kissed Wu Crossing on the face and said, "I'm going to wash up. After washing up, I have to go to the site to prepare for the work. You should sleep more. Okay, if there is anything, send me a message." Wu Crossing said again. Because of the other party's profession, he didn't say that he would accompany him. He was not a behind-the-scenes staff of the competition and didn't understand those things. It was hard to say whether he could help or not. If he made things worse, it would be funny. Dao Dao responded and walked into the bathroom to wash up. When she came out of the bathroom, Dao Dao had already changed into a professional dress. She glanced at Wu Crossing on the bed again. Seeing that he had fallen asleep, she walked out of the bedroom without saying anything to disturb him. When she walked to the door of the room, she seemed to think of something. She looked down at the high heels she was wearing at the moment, took them off, and replaced them with one of the pairs on the shoe rack. In her mind, the high heels chosen by Wu Crossing should be worn when they are alone. She quickly put aside the distracting thoughts in her mind, opened the door of the room, went down the stairs, and walked towards the direction of the Great Fighting Spirit Arena. Along the way, she also saw the staff who were also rushing there. After seeing Dao Dao, these female staff members quickly greeted her enthusiastically, and Dao Dao also showed a professional smile and responded one by one. When she arrived at the Great Fighting Spirit Arena and entered the backstage, she found that several female colleagues were looking at her with curious eyes. "What's wrong? What are you doing?" Seeing the strange looks from these female colleagues, Dao Dao's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that her date with Wu Crossing last night was spread? It's no wonder Dao Dao thought so. After all, she is a public figure. It's normal for fans to find out last night and then spread. She is prepared for this. But if this happens, she doesn't want to see rumors. But soon, her colleague's answer made her feel relieved. "Sister Dao Dao, you have become more beautiful today." A female colleague looked at Dao Dao in amazement, and then said, yes, Sister Dao Dao, what skincare products do you use? How come your skin has become more moisturized in just one night?" Another female colleague also asked hurriedly. Hearing this, Dao Dao's face flushed suspiciously, and she shook her head and said, "No, it's the same as before." However, just as she finished speaking, an older woman with rich experience teased her, "You really have no eyesight. It's not because of skincare products, but it's obviously the result of being moisturized by a man." You can see the remaining charm between her eyebrows. Dao Dao's face flushed immediately after being teased by this sentence. She subconsciously touched her burning face with both hands, thinking in her heart, could it be that being moisturized by a man will make the skin better? What is the principle? Of course, she would definitely not admit it. How could she talk about such a shameful thing with her colleagues? However, she did not admit it, but her colleagues did not intend to let her go, and asked her if the man was handsome, and whether he was a prince of a noble family, or a son of a large sect or a large family. After all, in their eyes, a man who can catch Dao Dao's eyes must have an extraordinary identity. But they would never have imagined that the man who nourished Dao Dao was not just someone comparable to the princes and nobles, but the super genius who shined in the arena yesterday. Wood Crossing. Chapter 168 Oversleeping. When Wood Crossing woke up, it was already around 10 in the morning. This made him slap his head immediately, and he quickly got up and went into the bathroom, washed up quickly, and rushed to the Xiandao Great Soul Fighting Arena. He was certainly not anxious, because he had to participate in the competition. With Ruoxi, Yanzi, and Lingling in charge, few teams could compare. The main reason was that the competition would start at 8 o'clock, and the contestants and spectators would enter the venue. The competition would officially begin at 9 o'clock. He had told the diary holder of Zhutian Diary that the whole process would be broadcast live. Now an hour has passed, and who knows how long those women have been waiting. I don't know if they are ready to kill me. Not to mention, the diary holders from the Zhutian Diary were all looking forward to Wood Crossing's broadcast. They were all attracted by the martial spirits in the Douluo world. After all, they could let the martial spirits possess themselves. For example, the beast martial spirits were similar to some animals in their world, and the weapon martial spirits were similar to the various metal tools in their world. These animals and tools could be used as their own awakened martial spirits, and used as auxiliary means of attack. It was really eye-opening. So, when they saw that the diary owner was supposed to broadcast at 9 o'clock, but did not broadcast today, they all began to worry. Could it be that something unexpected happened today? You know, the other party killed Tang San, the son of destiny in that world yesterday, and was found by his father? Of course, they didn't expect that the reason why Wood Crossing didn't broadcast was because he fell into the gentle country and overslept. Otherwise they would definitely be angry and their sincerity, worry, would be wasted. Even Bibi Dong was the first to do so. If it wasn't for Ling Yuan's message, she would have almost collapsed and wanted to come to Xiandao Empire to completely solve Tang Heo's problem. But when she learned that Wood Crossing, this little black fan, didn't wake up to broadcast live because he spent the night with a woman, she almost fainted. "Why didn't you call me?" Wood Crossing looked at Ling Yuan and A Rao and said helplessly, "You looked like you were sleeping soundly." Ling Yuan rolled her eyes and replied unhappily, "This little bastard, just for a date, he stayed overnight with another woman. It would be fine if he stayed overnight, but he actually blamed her for getting up late." However, she was not angry just because of this. The main reason was that the little bastard in front of her was too attentive to the woman named Dao Dao. She protected him day and night, never left him, and never picked any gifts for her. Even if she catered to the other party wholeheartedly, she paid for the stockings. It would be fine if she paid, but she went alone. Looking at that woman again, it would be strange if she could be balanced. Seeing Ling Yuan getting jealous, Wood Crossing smiled awkwardly, took her slender waist, put her in front of him, and said, "Okay, don't be jealous. I'll go on a date with you in a few days, okay? Who wants you to go on a date with me?" Ling Yuan pushed Wood Crossing's chest, looked at Arao with a slightly red face, and pouted. Arao smiled as they played, but didn't say anything. She wouldn't interfere in the affairs of the benefactor. Even if her daughter followed the benefactor, she didn't say anything, because it was a blessing for her daughter to be with the benefactor. After all, the benefactor's future achievements were beyond her imagination, and Xiao Wu was completely lucky to follow him. As for the fact that the benefactor had many women, For soul beasts, it was even more of a piece of cake, because many soul beasts that lived in groups had many wives and concubines. If she hadn't considered that she had given birth to a child, she felt that she was not clean and unworthy of the benefactor, and she would have almost fallen under Wood Crossing's offensive several times. She had no idea that among humans, there were many people with the ambition of a thief, and that she was the favorite of those men. She didn't know how attractive she was, and she didn't know that Wood Crossing was also like-minded, and couldn't forget her. Really? Wood Crossing said with a smile. Ling Yuan was speechless. This little bastard was going to piss me off to death. Didn't he know that a woman saying no meant yes? Haha, I'm just kidding you. Look at you, the panda is about to get mad. Wood Crossing said with a smile. Wood Crossing, let go of your dog claws. Ling Yuan was so angry that she even called out the word old lady. This was intolerable. What did you mean the panda was about to get mad? It was you who caught it. Wood Crossing naturally couldn't let go of the other party. If he did, it would be a fool's behavior. He immediately changed the subject and said, did anything happen last night? No. Ling Yuan regained her mind and shook her head. Strange. Did that guy Tang Heo leave Xiandao City for something? Wood Crossing became suspicious. Tang Sun was killed by him. Tang Heo should have killed him immediately after knowing this. Why didn't he do anything? This is not in line with his character. He didn't know that Tang Heo was already half dead at this time. His son had absorbed a lot of his vitality. In addition, he was depressed by the spirit hall in recent years. He looked like he was about to die. It would take a long time to recover. Even after the serious illness, his strength would not reach the peak period. How could he find him for the time being? Forget it. Forget about that guy. I have to start the live broadcast quickly. Those pen pals may have been waiting for a long time. Unknowingly, they had arrived at the Xiandao Great Soul Fighting Arena. Wood Crossing let go of Ling Yuan and sorted out his words. It's good that you know. Ling Yuan rolled his eyes again. The Pope had sent no less than 10 interrogation messages. At this time, the game had reached the third game. After Wood Crossing opened the diary panel, he started the live broadcast. Dear pen pals, I'm sorry. Today's live broadcast is a bit late. I'm very sorry to have kept you waiting for a long time. You don't have to worry, nothing happened here that caused the broadcast to be more than an hour late. It was just that I overslept. After waiting for a long time, the woman from many worlds finally heard the reminder from the diary copy, and she couldn't wait to open it and read it. But when she heard the other party say that the live broadcast was late because she overslept, her mouth twitched. Do you have to be so unreliable? So many people are waiting for you to start the broadcast, and you overslept. It's too irresponsible. But it shouldn't be too late now. It's only the third game, which is between Chihua College and Xianshu College. I told you before that these two teams are also relatively outstanding colleges. Each has a diary holder. I think the excitement is not bad. Let's wait and see. By the way, I just heard Ruoxi say that the opponent of Xiandao Team 2 today has given up again, and I can't play again. Here it comes again. Familiar formula, same taste. The owner of the diary starts his verses again. But we have to admit that from the live broadcasts of the past few days, even without Wood Crossing, the Xiandao Royal Team 2 and the Shrek Academy team are unique among the 28 teams. They gave up and then fully dealt with the opponent on the second day. This tactic is the most appropriate. Chapter 169. Women are also lustful. As Wood Crossing was explaining, members of the Blazing Academy team and the Xianshu Academy team also appeared one after another. As expected, both teams were top teams, and both teams performed very well. However, there was no suspense in the result, and Xianshu Academy finally won. The next team was relatively worse. It is worth mentioning that the opponent of the Shrek Academy team gave up again. Obviously, the pressure brought by the Soul King and the 100,000-year Soul Ring was enormous. After knowing that they could not win, they all chose to give up. A whole day was spent in the Great Soul Fighting Arena, and Wood Crossing also commented on each team for a group of diary holders very seriously. It was not until the end of the last game today that he turned off the live broadcast and ended the matter. Wood Crossing, who turned off the live broadcast, did not leave the Great Soul Fighting Arena early, like he did in the past few days. Instead, He asked Ruoxi and the others to return to Yuxuan first, and he waited at the entrance and exit of the Soul Fighting Arena staff. Su Ruoxi, Du Guan, and Yi Lingling all knew about their men's affairs. After all, Wu Crossing had never hidden it from them. Knowing that Dao Dao, the host and referee, had joined in, they were a little jealous, but they were not really angry. Instead, they felt that their men were worthy of entrusting their lives and valuing love and friendship. After all, whether it was them or Sister Lingian, when they first joined this big family, their husbands would spend a few days with them, and Dao Dao was definitely no exception. Not being fond of the new and dislike the old and treating everyone equally would not cause a fire in the backyard and would not cause everyone to disagree. After waiting for about half an hour, Wu Crossing saw Dao Dao walking out of the work passage from a distance. There were several women with her. Judging from the clothes they were wearing, they were all behind the scenes staff of this event. At the same time, Dao Dao also saw Wu Crossing waiting in the distance. Seeing that he was waiting for her, a trace of warmth flashed in her heart, and a happy smile appeared on her face. This smile was different from the smile of professional cultivation. It was a joy from the heart. As if noticing Dao Dao's appearance, the women around her were surprised to follow her gaze, and also saw Wu Crossing from the second team of Xiandao Royal Academy, who was the most eye-catching and dazzling in the competition yesterday. The moment they saw Wu Crossing, the eyes of several women also lit up. For Wu Crossing, this young man with strong strength and handsome appearance, few women don't like him. Although they are staff members, they are also people. Yearning for the strong is the most common thing in Douluo Continent. Not to mention them, even older women will also flirt with Wu Crossing, and don't mind having a romantic encounter. In short, during the half hour he waited, no less than dozens of women had flirted with him. Some bold women even came forward to chat with him, and even asked for his contact information. Although there are no ugly women in anime, he really has no interest in these women, who are not even extras. After all, he couldn't take care of the diary holders, so how could he provoke these women again? He politely refused. Wow, it's Wu Crossing, Sister Dao Dao. One of the women said to Dao Dao with starry eyes. How cool. If I can spend a night with Wu Crossing, I would be willing to sacrifice 10 years of my life. Another woman was even more exaggerated, even saying that she would sacrifice 10 years of her life to let Wu Crossing accompany her for one night. After all, in their eyes, Wu Crossing was an unattainable existence, not to mention that he was so handsome and so capable. As soon as the woman finished speaking, one of them curled her lips and said, "Don't dream, he is not worthy of us. Yeah, it's better to fantasize about him alone at night. I tried it yesterday, and I felt so ecstatic." Another woman nodded in agreement, but her words were even more jaw-dropping. She actually fantasized about Wu Crossing last night. Dao Dao, who was standing aside, listened to their explicit words. Although she had a good professional quality, her face flushed. What a bunch of sluts. Sister Dao Dao, I think you still have a chance. Why don't you go up and chat with him? If you can successfully get close to him, you will be the titled Douluo lady in the future. A relatively mature looking woman encouraged Dao Dao. Yes, Sister Dao Dao, you are so beautiful and famous, maybe the other party will like you. If you can get married, you will find a treasure. The woman who was willing to sacrifice 10 years of her life in exchange for Wu Crossing's romantic night agreed. He is so powerful, and he is a soul king at such a young age. His physical fitness must be great. In that aspect, you, Sister Dao Dao, will definitely be in ecstasy. The woman who fantasized about Wu Crossing said something shocking. Dao Dao looked at this group of sluts, who were getting more and more explicit and exaggerated. She had no idea what shame was. Her forehead was twitching. She simply said, "You guys go have dinner. I'm leaving first." After that, she walked towards Wu Crossing with brisk steps. "Hey, Sister Dao Dao, we are serious about what we are talking about. What are you doing?" Before these colleagues finished speaking, they all opened their mouths, as if they had seen some shocking secret. Dao Dao actually walked to Wu Crossing, and the other party opened his arms and hugged her. After talking about feelings for so long, the clown turned out to be us, and Sister Dao Dao hooked up with him unconsciously. When she came to her senses, a woman said in astonishment, One of the women seemed to have thought of something and then said in surprise, "Do you remember what Sister Dao Dao looked like in the morning? Are you talking about Sister Dao Dao being moisturized?" Several colleagues immediately recalled and then took a breath of cold air. Good guy, they were still fantasizing. Sister Dao Dao actually experienced it in person. No wonder she looked radiant in the morning. No, I can't help it. I have to go back to the hotel quickly and solve it. And they also want to join the battle. Why are you here? Dao Dao's face was a little red, and she let go of Wu Crossing's arms, but her heart was extremely sweet. Give you a surprise. How is it? Are you satisfied? Wu Crossing said with a smile. Dao Dao nodded softly and said, yeah. How could she not be satisfied? She was so moved that she wanted to cry. Unexpectedly, Wu Crossing would personally pick her up after get off work. This feeling of being cared for was simply too romantic. As the colleague just said, although she was good looking and famous, she was the goddess in the eyes of many viewers. But for a talented soul master like Wu Crossing, she was just like that. The two identities were incomparable. Not to mention, he also had another identity as the owner of the diary. Now she was willing to pick him up, and in front of so many colleagues, she didn't feel that her identity was not worthy of him at all. This behavior was really sweet in her heart. As long as you are satisfied, let's go and have dinner. Wu Crossing smiled and took the other's hand and walked towards the direction of Xiandao Hotel. Dao Dao was now wearing a professional suit. He had been looking forward to the temptation of uniforms for a long time. He might have to try it tonight, but before that, he had to pamper the other party well. It's almost the end of the year diary. Occasionally there are other world tasks. If you are still reading it, please make a sound to see if anyone is reading it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Diary System Upgrade. Time passed quickly. After a month-long qualifying match, the 5 qualified teams were finally determined. They were Xiandao Royal Team 2, Shrek Academy Team, Xianshu Academy Team, Chihuo Academy Team, and Shenfeng Academy Team. Unlike the original work, Xiandao Royal Team 2 replaced the Thunder Academy and tied for first place with Shrek Academy Team with 26 wins and 1 tie. Xianshu Academy ranked 3rd with 25 wins and 2 losses. Chihuo Academy ranked 4th with 24 wins and 3 losses. And finally Shenfeng Academy ranked 5th with 23 wins and 4 losses. As for such a result, everyone had already guessed it halfway through. Wu Crossing understood that it was not surprising that the Xianshu girl group and Chihuo Academy, where Huo Wuers, could defeat Shenfeng and Lei Ting with the blessing of the diary copy. With Shubinger and Huo Wu's temperament and their desire for the honor of the academy and strength, how could they stand still? After the 5 qualified teams were determined, there was a month of rest time so that all the players could adjust their status and face the next promotion match. There was no elimination in the promotion match, which was mainly set up for the convenience of selecting talents for the major forces. With this 1 month rest period, sisters like Shu Yuhir and Shubinger, Huo Wu and Meng Yiren, began to send messages frantically and launched offensives against him. Even Kyan Rinksu had sent several messages to invite him over. Before, they had to fight for honor and to be able to show the style of their academy in Wu Crossing's live broadcast. They all took the competition seriously, so apart from simple communication, they did not make too many moves. But now it is different. They have all qualified and can boldly invite Wu Crossing out to play. If it were before, he would have agreed to the enthusiastic invitation of these young ladies without saying a word. But now he has no such idea for the time being and politely rejected these diary holders because he is about to welcome a year of diary updates. According to the nature of the system, if nothing unexpected happens, it will definitely be upgraded again. He is eager to know what functions will be opened after the system upgrade. Judging from the many similar diary novels he had read in his previous life, recording, live broadcasting, friends, and trading functions have all been opened one by one. The next system upgrade may bring about earth-shaking changes. Dear pen pals, Today is the first year since I came to Douluo World, and it is also the 365th diary updated. Unknowingly, I have been in this world for a year. Time has passed so quickly. The past is like smoke. Looking at the diary owner's sigh, a group of diary holders also felt the same. They also unknowingly read the diary contents of each other for a year. They have regarded reading diaries as a habit and a place to soothe their hearts. It also allows them to understand the customs and lifestyles that are completely different from their own world. It allows them to see the various martial spirits in Douluo World and let them know the tip of the iceberg of the world where the women who obtained the golden legend are. Of course, what I'm most looking forward to is what new functions will appear after the diary system is upgraded to level 4. I think you are the same. According to my previous practice, after this diary is written, the diary system should be upgraded, so we won't talk about anything else today. Let's just guess. As Wuhun Crossing said, that the diary system will be upgraded. Many women are looking forward to it, especially the diary holders of other worlds. What they want most is, of course, to be able to do what Wuhun Crossing said before. After the live broadcast of the elite competition of the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the Douluo World, many of them are also yearning for the experience of different worlds. Seeing the vast world of the universe is their wish. Wuhun Crossing is still writing some irrelevant topics, mostly about the diary system. He didn't write the last line until the number reached the standard. I have used up enough words. I will go to collect the reward first. We will meet again later. After closing the diary panel, Wuhun Crossing communicated with the system to collect the reward without any pause. Ding, it is detected that the host has updated a diary and obtained a crossing symbol. Crossing symbol can be specified to cross any world of the universe for 10 days. As Wuhun Crossing communicated with the system to collect the reward, the voice of the system came from his mind. Just after hearing the system reward of the crossing symbol, his eyes widened instantly. It appeared. It really appeared. The moment he saw the crossing symbol, he almost cried out in surprise. However, before he could wake up from his trance, the system's voice sounded again. Ding, it is detected that the host's diary has been updated for a year, and the diary system has been upgraded. The current level is LV4. LV4 diary system. The following functions are open. 1. The point small is open, and points can be obtained by punching in. 2. All world trading platforms are open, and plain transactions can now be made. 3. The task system is open, once a month, temporarily only for the host. When the system upgrade prompt came out, and learned about the open functions, whether it was Wuhun Crossing or the diary holders of any world, they were shocked at this time. The points system is open, just as Wuhun Crossing said. Many women have already opened the diary mall. I saw the two big words mall on the diary function interface. Clicking it, the items on it simply blinded everyone's eyes. The mall is full of items from the world you belong to, everything you need, even cards that directly improve your cultivation. But without exception, all of them require points. As the diary owner said, the diary mall is really terrifying. As long as you have enough points, you can instantly become the top powerhouse in your world. At this moment, many diary holders are crazy. It's just that points can only be obtained by punching in temporarily, and even if you get them, you may not get a lot, and the number of top level things required cannot be described as exaggerated. Take the points mall in Douluo World as an example. There are not only 100,000 year spirit rings, but also 1 million year spirit rings, as well as martial spirit fragments, random, or designated, or complete, all. But the price requires a lot of points, and they don't even have a single point now. Bibi Dan looked at the various treasures in the points mall, her eyes turned green, and she wanted to buy all the goods in it. While everyone was drooling at the goods in the diary mall, Wuhun Crossing's attention was not on it. Because for him who has read many novels, there is no surprise at all about the points mall. Instead, his eyes were on the exclusive task system function that was first opened for him. Chapter 171 Mission System. Task System. Every month, the diary system randomly releases a task, and points are awarded according to the difficulty of the task. The task content includes events in the current world or other worlds. After accepting the task, if it is not an event in the current world, the host will have 2 hours to prepare. The host can choose not to accept the task, but if the task fails after accepting it, double points will be deducted. Looking at the introduction of the task system, although Wood Crossing was surprised that more than one world would appear, it was also expected. But then again, today should be the last day of this month, right? Doesn't that mean that he has to accept the task now? As for giving up the task, he didn't think about it, because points are also very important to him. But before that, he should talk to the diary holders. After all, what if the task appears in their world? Thinking of this, Wood Crossing reopened the diary panel and talked to a group of diary holders. Dear pen pals, have you also received the reminder from the diary system? As expected, as I guessed before, the points mall is open. I think you should be envious of the products above, right? Haha, but the points system has just been released, and the channels for obtaining it are limited, but as the system is upgraded, there will be more and more, so you don't have to worry, just wait slowly. Similarly, you should also know the third function of the diary, the task system. From the above introduction, you can see that the tasks issued by this system are not exclusive to me. You will also have them in the future. I guess it is an important source of points. But then again, it's the last day of this month here, which means I have to accept the task today. This task may be to go to one of your worlds, so if it's too troublesome, I have to ask you to lend a hand. My pen pals, thank you all here in advance. The girls who were browsing the diary mall received the news of the diary update, immediately closed the mall panel, and returned to the diary copy. When they saw Wood Crossing say that today was the last day of this month in his world, they were all shocked, especially when he mentioned that the task might be in their world. They were even more eagerly looking forward to it. Just now, they didn't check it too much, because they saw that the third function was temporarily limited to the diary owner. Now that they know that Wood Crossing is likely to come to their world, they carefully check the annotations of the task system. Even the diary holders in Douluo world checked it as soon as possible. After seeing the introduction of the task system, Su Ruoxi, Du Guan, and Yi Lingling all looked at Wood Crossing. Ling Yuan and A Rao also appeared in the room at the first time. It is obvious that they are very concerned about Wood Crossing. Even the diary holders who have added friends sent messages to inquire at the first time. After Wood Crossing replied uniformly, he told the women on the diary panel that they would see each other tomorrow, and then he exited. Husband, are you going to receive the task today? When Wood Crossing just exited the diary panel, Su Ruoxi and the other women immediately spoke. You know, from the annotations of the task system, the tasks received by their men are random, and going to other worlds is even greater. Of course, they were nervous and worried at the same time, even though they knew that their men had a heaven-defying resurrection technique. Yeah. Wood Crossing nodded and then said, the system task only comes once a month, and it is an important way to get points. I don't want to give up. How about, husband, why don't you wait? Wait until you are stronger before you receive it? Hearing this, the women all persuaded him. If the task is just some worlds of low level, it would be better. If the destination is a world like Super God, Perfect, or covering the sky, it would be too dangerous for her man to be strong. Although Ling Yuan didn't say anything, her worried eyes showed her concern. If the little man's task is to go to another world, she won't be able to protect him. Wood Crossing naturally understood the women's thoughts, but he didn't want to give up. He shook his head and said, I understand your worries, but points are very important. Whether it is for you or for me, it is a shortcut to improve strength. It is not reasonable to give up. Besides, as your man, I'm responsible for making money to support the family, and you are responsible for being beautiful. Isn't it a very normal thing? You can't be timid just because you are not strong enough, right? Besides, I have the means to save my life, and I have the help of a group of diary holders, so don't worry too much. Points are very important, and they are also very important to him, because the things purchased from these points malls can be used by any diary holder, and they can be traded. With points, even if it is a Doudao, even if it absorbs fairy grass, women with average talent don't have to worry about not being able to keep up with him, which will lead to a loss. Therefore, he does tasks to get points, not only for himself, but more for his women. But After hearing this, the women wanted to say something, but they also understood that it was difficult to change the decisions of their men. As their women, they should not persuade them, but choose to support them. But they were just worried about Wu Crossing's safety. Okay, it's decided. Don't persuade me. I'll report to you in my diary that I'm safe. Wu Crossing sighed and said helplessly. Seeing that their man had decided to accept the task, the women didn't insist, and Ling Yuan said, if the situation is not right, you should give up the task immediately. Yes, husband, Sister Ling Yuan is right. If there is danger, you should give up the task and come back. It doesn't matter if the points are deducted. We can save them together to pay them back. Su Ruoxi and the other two women nodded heavily in agreement. Okay, I promise you that I will never joke with my life. As long as there are uncontrollable factors, I will return immediately. Looking at the women who were deeply in love, Wu Crossing promised hurriedly. Yeah. After hearing this, the women's heavy hearts were relieved a little. Okay, you don't have to look so bitter now. There is still a lot of time before the last day of this month. How about I take you out for a shopping trip? Wu Crossing said with a smile, to liven up the atmosphere. Okay. The women were originally in a gloomy mood, but their beautiful eyes all lit up. There is no woman who doesn't like shopping, unless they are powerful like Keisha, Liu Shen, and Ruthless Emperor. Maybe they are similar, but they don't have a man they like in their hearts, so Wu Crossing thinks so. Don't you see, Ling Yuan is a titled Douluo. Wu Crossing agreed to date her last time, and she behaved like a little girl that time. This is the charm of being with a lover. If it were in the past, she would have been past this age of youth, so how could she be interested in this? Of course, Wu Crossing did not forget to call Xiao Wu and the others, and Dao Dao to come out together. Chapter 172, The Arrival of Spirit Cage. When Wu Crossing and the girls finished fighting, and returned to Yuxun, it was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The reason why he chose to come back at this time instead of playing until the evening was because he didn't know what the mission was, just in case he needed to do some preparation before crossing, right? After re-entering the room, Wu Crossing, under the gaze of the girls, opened his diary system and clicked on the newly added task function button to receive the mission. Ding, the mission is randomly generated. Ding, the mission was successfully released. Please go to the linkage world to destroy Xing and save the humans in that world from the water and fire. The time limit is 20 days. Transmission countdown 1 hour, 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Completion reward 3,000 points. Seeing the content on the mission panel, Wu Crossing was stunned at first, and then he was relieved. The difficulty of this mission is not difficult for his current strength. Of course, it is not easy. To say it is easy, but compared to those worlds with high military power values, it is relatively safe. Husband, what is the mission? Seeing Wu Crossing close a diary panel, Su Ruoxi and the girls immediately asked. They can see the diary panel, but they can't see the information on it, so they are very concerned about which world their men will go to perform the mission. There are a lot of them in the Zhutian Diary. Although there are duplicate worlds in the Golden Legend in a year, there are also hundreds of them. It can be determined that the mission is basically impossible to appear in the Douluo world where they are. Go to the Linglang world and destroy the bad ecological environment there that leads mankind to doomsday. The time is 20 days. Wu Crossing explained. Linglang world? The women also breathed a sigh of relief when they heard it, and their hanging hearts finally relaxed. According to the division of the world by their men in the diary, the level of Linglang world is not as high as Douluo, so the safety factor is much higher. Yes. Wu Crossing nodded, and then said, before we set off, let's go out again, and buy a lot of supplies. Linglang is a science fiction doomsday theme animation. The human beings in that world have extremely important material needs. Although the diary system has opened the trading platform of all worlds, it implements point trading, which few people have now. Take the Douluo world for example. After the system was upgraded today, Su Ruoxi and the other 3 girls, the 3 beauties of Shrek, Ling Yuan, Erao and Dao Dao, among the 9 girls, only Erao got points, and it was only 100 points. You have to understand that a 100,000 year spirit ring requires 800 points, which shows how precious the points are at the beginning. Buy a lot of supplies. The girls were a little confused when they heard it. Do you remember that I briefly talked about the linkage world before? It's the end of the world, and supplies are extremely scarce, especially food and medical supplies. I'll buy some to take with me just in case. Wu Crossing continued to explain. Hearing this, the girls immediately understood and no longer hesitated. They volunteered to help Wu Crossing. Buy daily necessities, buy food, buy medicines, etc. The only regret is that only the things produced by the system can be put into the diary warehouse, and the soul guide equipment is always limited. In addition, in the world of martial souls in Douluo Continent, medicines are also very unpopular. After all, there are healing soul masters to treat injuries, and even if there are gold coins, you can't buy much. There is strength in numbers. In an hour, they had already filled dozens of soul guides and returned to Yuxin. Honey, be careful. Seeing that the preparations were ready, the women all gave them concerned instructions. I know. Wu Crossing nodded heavily and then communicated with the system in his mind to transmit. In an instant, Wu Crossing's figure turned into starlight in the eyes of the women and disappeared in the room. At the same time, a series of mechanical sounds rang in his mind. Ding, transmitting, destination, Linkang world, synchronizing time, synchronization completed, start generating a foothold, foothold generation completed. When the mechanical sound in his mind disappeared, Wu Crossing's consciousness also recovered. When he saw the environment he was in clearly, his brows frowned slightly, because he found that the environment around him was very dark and pitch black. Here is. Wu Crossing glanced around and determined that he should be in the ruins of a spaceship. Isn't it the place where the plot of Linkang World just started? Of course, all this is just his guess, and the specific situation has yet to be determined. However, before confirming his position, Wu Crossing took the lead in opening the diary panel and then clicked to start the live broadcast. At the same time, the holders of the Zhutian Diary diary who were paying attention to Wu Crossing's movement stopped what they were doing and quickly opened their diary copies after hearing that he had started the live broadcast. They knew that Wu Crossing said yesterday that he would accept the task. Yes, it was yesterday. This teleportation seemed to be just a breath of effort, but a night had passed. And from the randomness of the task, it is very likely to go to another world to perform the task, so they all hoped that the other party would travel to their own world. In addition, Suruoxi and the others who had waited for a night did not turn off their copies, and did not even rest. After seeing their men disappear, they kept waiting for information. At first, it was okay, but as time passed, they did not update their diaries or start the live broadcast all night, and they were immediately anxious. They thought something unexpected had happened, but fortunately, as their men appeared on the live broadcast screen, their worried hearts were finally completely put down. Hello, everyone. As you can see, I have accepted the task. Look at the surrounding environment. Does it feel strange? Yes, I'm no longer in the Douluo world, but in the spirit cage world. When everyone saw Wu Crossing appear in a dark and strange place in the live broadcast, they had some guesses. When he said the world he was in, they were all shocked. Sure enough, this diary copy has the ability to take others through the heavens. But after coming back to their senses, some diary holders were disappointed and even curled their lips. If they remembered correctly, Wu Crossing had received a reward before, which was a Spirit Cage World experience card. Now the first task is related to the Spirit Cage World again. They are a little suspicious whether the god of that world has some unspeakable transaction with the diary system. Otherwise, how could such a coincidence happen? This can't help but make them think so. You know, among hundreds of worlds that appear, the probability of being in the same world continuously is frighteningly low. On the other hand, in the Spirit Cage world, the lighthouse base, when the light bearer heard that Wu Crossing came to her, her whole proud figure trembled, and the charming face under the mechanical mask flushed. My lord, he has come. Chapter 173 Link Cage World View. Where rhyme now should be the wreckage of a spaceship. Looking at this huge space, it should be an interstellar spaceship. As for what an interstellar spaceship is, it is a building that people build through their wisdom and can fly in the sky. For specific details, you can check the interstellar spaceship annotations. I won't explain too much here. Now let me talk about this mission. The system wants me to destroy Xing and save the human beings in this world. Before, I mentioned that Linglang is a doomsday world. Because of a geological disaster, the entire human civilization world collapsed in an instant, and the creatures were almost extinct. Only a few people were left struggling. The biggest reason for this was also due to the existence of Xing. In the future of Douluo Continent, a similar situation will occur, and it will collide with the Sun and Moon continent. However, that side has a benign ending, while this world is not so friendly, and has an extremely vicious development. Xing was also born because of this. Its appearance caused many creatures that survived this catastrophe to begin to mutate. The author thinks so. The original work does not describe it, so it is roughly guessed. These mutated creatures are collectively called devouring extreme beasts. Just like the soul beasts in Douluo Continent, but the devouring beasts here are specialized in absorbing the life essence of humans, so you should be able to imagine why this world is also called the Doomsday World. Following Woodcrossing's introduction, the diary holders were shocked again. Ordinary people can actually use their wisdom to build buildings that can fly in the sky, and through the detailed annotations of the interstellar spacecraft, it is also known that the speed of the spacecraft has reached an unheard of level. Isn't this too exaggerated? On the contrary, the diary holders of Douluo World were shocked by Woodcrossing's later statement that their continent would collide with the Sun and Moon continent in the future. Woodcrossing had never mentioned this in his diary before. Of course, more women are looking at the devouring beasts. Those creatures actually feed on the life essence of humans. Thinking about it, they all felt a tingling scalp, shuddering, and shivering all over. No wonder the Lingkang world is called the Doomsday World. There are so many powerful monsters that feed on humans. What kind of scene would that be? They dare not think about it, nor do they want to think about it. They are glad that they do not live in such a world. Xing is a place dedicated to cultivating extreme beasts. They rely on the life essence absorbed by the extreme beasts to evolve continuously, and finally cultivate stronger extreme beasts. Therefore, the human beings in this world live in extreme difficulty. They either live like mice in the underground, or live on the lighthouse. In short, in one sentence, the end of the world is very cruel. Whether it is order or survival, it can no longer be described in words. Woodcrossing introduced the worldview of the cage to the diary holders while exploring the ruins of the spacecraft. Soon, stone statues in the shape of humans appeared in front of him, and he immediately explained it in the live broadcast. Have you seen these stone statues? They were living creatures in their lifetime. After the extreme beasts absorbed the life essence, they became like this. These humans who absorbed the life essence were called meat soil by the survivors of the cage world. When humans carved out of stone appeared in the live broadcast, many diary holders in the world were still wondering why there were so many stone statues, but Woodcrossing's explanation made them tremble again. These people were not carved, but the result of the so-called devouring beast absorbing their life essence. Flesh soil, a perfect and appropriate word, isn't that what they are now? But at this moment, in the hearts of all the diary holders, they are more shocked by the picture in front of them. Living people have all turned into this look, which is really terrible. While Woodcrossing was introducing the countless flesh soil in front of him, suddenly a subtle sound came into everyone's ears. The next second, a centipede similar to the size of an arm appeared in the live broadcast, and the sound just now was made by it walking. Seeing the arm-sized centipede appear, everyone was shocked, especially Suruoxi and others who were also watching the live broadcast, and they wanted to shout to remind their men. Although they didn't know what kind of creature was in front of them, judging from its appearance, it must not be a good thing. Woodcrossing had heard the noise a long time ago, but he didn't say it immediately because he wanted to give everyone some scientific knowledge. Just as it approached and wanted to launch a sneak attack, it was stepped on by Woodcrossing. The stepped-on Spinalgoo kept struggling, but because of the disparity in strength, it couldn't get away no matter what. Looking at Woodcrossing again, after stepping on the spine, he slowly lowered his body and explained to the people watching the live broadcast. This centipede-like creature is called Spinalgoo, which has certain aggressiveness and parasitic properties. Don't look at this thing. It is only as big as an arm. Compared with ordinary humans, it is very agile. Its limbs are sharp and hard, and can easily penetrate ordinary human bodies. At the same time, it can also release a red mist called scarlet, which can cause various hallucinations in humans. What's more terrifying is that Spinal-Gu can also invade the human spine and parasitize it, gradually eroding the human body, and eventually turning the host into flesh and soil without life characteristics. In addition, Spinal-Gu has no sense of pain, which makes them more ferocious when attacking. Of course, what I said is only relative to ordinary people. For me, it is still very easy to deal with. After saying that, Wuhun Crossing did not hold back. When it released scarlet pigment, he had already stepped on it to death. However, not long after it was stepped on to death, bursts of rustling sounds came again, and then in the live broadcast, it can be seen that spines appeared around Wuhun Crossing. Looking at the group of spines surrounding him, Wuhun Crossing was stunned for a moment, and then he said again, "I forgot to tell you that these spines are social creatures and will not appear alone." After saying that, a ball of flame appeared in Wuhun Crossing's hand. With a casual wave of his hand, flames rose from the group of spines surrounding him in an instant. As the flames burned, the group of spines was quickly eliminated and turned into ashes. Because they had no sense of pain, they did not make any hissing until they died. After dealing with the spine group, Wuhun Crossing was thinking about leaving the room. Suddenly, at this moment, a subtle sound was heard again. His footsteps paused, and his ears pricked up and moved. After listening for a while, he smiled and said, "It seems that someone is here." Judging from the sound, they should be a group of survivors. Chapter 174 Spoiler. Following the source of the sound, Wuhun Crossing soon came to a large steel hole that seemed to have been violently torn apart by some creature. Before he got close, he saw a faint light flickering below, and a faint voice. When Wuhun Crossing squatted down and looked down, he saw a familiar scene. There were 3 figures standing at the place where the body shell fell off below. These 3 people were the members of the Wasteland Hunter team and the Lighthouse, the male protagonist Mark, the female protagonist Ranbing, and the team member Mo Cheng. Seeing these 3 people, Wuhun Crossing could already conclude that his location was the plot at the beginning. At this time, the 3 people were shocked by the meat and soil piled up into a huge sphere in front of them. Not only were they shocked, but even the diary holders felt creepy when they saw the spherical body shell that appeared in the live broadcast. It was because they had just learned from Wuhun Crossing that the meat and soil were caused by the extreme beast absorbing the life essence of human beings. And the scene in front of them was made of countless meat and soil, and they could even clearly see their terrified expressions before death. They didn't dare to imagine what these humans had experienced. As if knowing what the diary holders were thinking, Wuhun Crossing explained in his mind, "This pile of flesh and earth is the molted body of a large devouring beast. They will release a large amount of inducing element to make humans lost in it, and then swallow these people one by one, absorb the life source, and then spit it out from the abdomen. So you see why the flesh and earth in front of you is different from the previous one, and is squeezed together." Of course, this is just a nice way of saying it. It is called a molted body, but it is actually the feces ball that the devouring beast excretes after eating and drinking. Listening to Wuhun Crossing's explanation, the corners of the women's mouths twitched, and they felt nauseous. This guy is simply a devil. Can you be a human being? Are you disgusting? They are all beautiful women from the universe. Do you need to explain it so clearly? Thinking of the fresh lives being swallowed by the devouring beast and then excreted like shit, they didn't have a chill. Well, after Wuhun Crossing said that, the goddesses in the transcendental world were better off, but the goddesses in the low-level martial arts world were miserable. They probably have no appetite to eat today. Not to mention them, even Wuhun Crossing's women, Su Ruoxi, Yi Lingling and the others, were disgusted when they heard their man's explanation. Especially Ling Yuan, Du Guyan, and Ning Rangrong. They cursed Wuhun Crossing in their hearts, saying that he was still not in good shape after traveling through time, and they almost vomited the breakfast they had just eaten. The stronger one below is called Mark, the male protagonist of the Linkage world, and the woman is called Ranbing, the female protagonist of the Linkage world, but judging from her current performance, she doesn't seem to be the diary holder. When the women complained about Wuhun Crossing, his words came again, attracting everyone's attention. Female protagonist, not the diary holder? This is strange. You know, when they just got the diary copy, they learned from Wuhun Crossing that they were either female protagonists from the world, or important supporting roles, or very beautiful. Now that they are the heroines of the world of linkage, they are not the holders of the diary, which makes them very strange. The other party is not bad looking, and looks very cool, but she didn't get the diary copy. Before, they also suspected several times whether the diary copy had some ulterior motives. Why did they collect all the beauties in the world? Why were they all women, and only the owner of the diary was a man? Author spoiler: old bookworms who have read my works should know that the source of the protagonist's system is based on facts. This diary copy was also made by his daughter, but guess who the protagonist had the child with? On the other hand, Wuhun Crossing didn't think too much. After discovering that Ranbing was not the holder of the diary, he kept paying attention to the movements below. The three didn't know that there was a pair of eyes watching them above their heads. Ranbing, who was in a playful mood, couldn't help but climb up the shell, and then played a joke with Mark and Mo Cheng, pretending to be caught by something inside, and exclaimed. But Mark saw through it immediately, which made Ranbing feel bored and jumped down from above. The flashlight in her hand shone around, and when she saw the place where the devouring beast had torn open her head, there was a pair of eyes looking at them, which frightened Ranbing, and made her scream again. There, someone. Ranbing shone the flashlight in her hand on Wuhun Crossing, and she retreated to Mark's side in shock. Mark thought Ranbing was joking again at first, and looked up along the light, and her pupils shrank, and there was an uproar in her heart. How could a human appear here? Wuhun Crossing's current clothes were incompatible with the clothes of the linkage world, so Mark naturally recognized at a glance that the other party was not his subordinate, nor was he a dustman following the Wasteland Hunter team. Hi, how are you? Seeing that he was exposed, Wuhun Crossing waved and said hello. He didn't deliberately hide his tracks. Seeing that these people had discovered him, he simply jumped down from above. Are you a human or a ghost? Seeing that he jumped down from a height of more than 5 meters without blinking, and landed steadily on the ground, Mo Cheng's mouth opened wide, with an unbelievable look. Mark and Ranbing did not speak, but they were also extremely shocked. What do you think? Wuhun Crossing smiled and asked the other party. Mo Cheng swallowed his throat, and before he could say anything, a hurried voice came from the communication device worn by the three people. Captain, we have a situation here. Mark heard the urgent communication from his men, replied that he would be there later, and then looked at Wuhun Crossing again solemnly. After a moment, he asked, are you a survivor of this spaceship? No. Wuhun Crossing shook his head. Then you are. Mark wanted to ask more, but the piercing sound of gunfire sounded, which made him pause, then turned around, and walked out of the room quickly, and rushed to the gunshot. It's not too late to ask the man in front of him later, but this time they came out to search for supplies, and there must be no accidents. Ranbing and Mo Cheng also looked at Wuhun Crossing, and then followed Mark's footsteps, and hurried after him. Wuhun Crossing watched the three people leave, and also followed them slowly, rushing towards the gunshot. When they arrived at a supply room on the spaceship, they happened to see a scavenger who was shooting at the meat and soil with his rifle. This person was Donnie, who got a box lunch at the beginning of the world of the spirit cage. According to the original plot, when Mark arrived, Donnie had already lost his mind and shot his companion Penny as a monster. However, because Wuhun Crossing showed up, and a group of spines were killed before, a butterfly effect occurred, resulting in a smaller number of spines at this time than before, and the released scarlet pigment was relatively smaller, so it did not reach the ending it should have. Chapter 175. Get out of the way, I'm going to show off. Seeing Donnie in a hallucination, Mark and Ranbing immediately shot at the spine group, and at the same time, they did not forget to ask Penny to pull Donnie away. But when Penny was about to pull Donnie out, the other party suddenly turned around, pointed the gun at her, and pulled the trigger. Seeing Donnie, who had lost his mind, shoot at Penny without saying a word, Mark and Ranbing were horrified. Donnie, don't. But it was obviously too late for the two to shout. Even if Mark's skills were not bad, it was too late to save Penny. However, at this critical moment, Wuhun Crossing made a move, and a figure flashed in front of the other party. The bullets hit Wuhun Crossing, making a series of ding-dong sounds and splashing sparks. Of course, Wood Crossing was not interested in this woman, even though she looked good, but the mission was to destroy Xing and save the human beings in this world from the dire straits, and he could not stand by and watch her die. What's more, he was still broadcasting live, and he had to stand up even for his own personality. Besides, when he was watching the cartoon, he had a good impression of Penny, the woman who got a box lunch as soon as she appeared. After all, as a superior, she still retained some humanity in such a cruel apocalypse, and would not treat the lives of the dust people as a joke. For this reason, she should be saved. Penny thought she was going to die and dead on his gun, but she saw a person blocking in front of her. She was shocked for a moment, and then she saw the bullet hitting the other person, and the sparks came out, and she was dumbfounded. Not to mention her, even Mark and Ranbing were dumbfounded, looking at Wood Crossing stupidly. Seeing the dumbfounded group of people, Wood Crossing ignored them, but snatched the rifle from Penny's hand, and said while sweeping towards the spine group, "What are you doing standing there stupidly? Why don't you retreat, waiting to be parasitized?" The spine group released a large amount of scarlet pigment at this time, making the originally dark room filled with red mist. Oh, okay. After hearing this, Mark and his friends finally reacted. While shooting at the spine group, they quickly retreated out of the room. However, when they retreated, they saw another shocking scene. They saw that the spine group was actually shooting at the other side, and every bullet hit a spine. Such a miraculous shooting skill overturned everyone's cognition, including the upper class hunters who came to rescue outside the cabin door, all of whom opened their mouths wide. However, because the spine group gathered here, the number was increasing. Even if Wood Crossing's shooting skill was more accurate, he could not completely eliminate them, so he had to leave the room. Bullets. Wood Crossing, who left the room and came to the corridor, immediately shouted to Mark. Mark didn't think much and took out 2 magazines from his waist and threw them over. Wood Crossing took it in his hand, and with a click, he took out the magazine and installed it again. His movements were extremely handsome and smooth. Then the spine group rushed out of the room and continued to shoot and slowly retreated to the back of the corridor while shooting. With his joining, the group of spines was quickly blocked by several people until no more spines came out. However, when Mark thought that the matter was over, he was about to ask who Wood Crossing was, a heavy footstep stepped on the iron plate and caused a series of vibrations. Soon everyone saw a huge reptile monster appearing in the deep corridor in front of them. Swallow beast. Seeing the appearance of the swallow beast, the hunters panicked. Although the one in front of them was the lowest level pan-life swallow beast it was also a group living creature. And because it absorbs the life essence of the human body, it is basically impossible to kill it. Even if it is killed, it will regenerate and reach the point of resurrection. Sure enough, as the swallow beast let out a dull roar, several heavy footsteps came again. In the dark corridor, 2 more swallow beasts appeared, showing a fierce look, looking at the hunters in front of them. Wood Crossing was very decisive. He threw away the rifle in his hand and turned around and ran to the back. He ran away so fast. Such an action made the diary holders who were watching the live broadcast open their mouths in a daze, and their faces were extremely strange. They thought that according to Wood Crossing's versatile appearance in his diary, the reaction to seeing these extreme beasts should be to spread his hands and say, "Get out of the way, I'm going to start showing off." But unexpectedly, they actually escaped. They ran away so decisively. Judging from the extreme beasts in the picture, they didn't think these monsters could cause harm to Wood Crossing. Obviously, the owner of the diary not only knows how to write a diary with a lot of words, but also knows how to live broadcast, and the show effect is directly maximized. Anyway, even Suruaxi and other women were full of laughter when they saw their men's actions. Seeing the appearance of several extreme beasts, and seeing Wood Crossing who decisively left, Mark's mouth twitched a few times, and he immediately ordered, "Quick, retreat." As soon as he finished shouting, the 3 extreme beasts suddenly stepped on their feet, and then rushed towards them quickly. Seeing this, Mark and Ranbing and other wasteland hunters quickly raised their guns and shot wildly. However, the bullets hit the devouring beasts, causing little damage to them. In addition, these devouring beasts were very cunning. They knew that their necks were weak points, so they would shrink in to prevent being hit by bullets. As a last resort, everyone kept retreating while shooting in panic, and in the blink of an eye they arrived at the end of the corridor. What's going on? Why haven't you opened the door yet? Seeing that the devouring beasts were about to pounce, Mark looked behind and asked immediately, "Captain, the hatch is damaged. It will take some time." Mo Cheng hurriedly replied, "You are so slow. Let me do it." Wu Crossing, who had retreated to the crowd, saw Dustman 4068, brothers who have not seen the spirit cage. For science, Dustmen have no names, only numbers, and immediately took the crowbar in the other's hand and inserted it into the gap of the door. Then he lifted it up casually, and with a clang, the heavy hatch that was originally stuck was pried open by Wu Crossing in an instant. Seeing the big iron gate that the United Dust People had not moved at all was easily pried open by Wu Crossing, both the Dust People and Mo Cheng were dumbfounded. Where did this guy come from? He looks so gentle, but is he so powerful? However, Wu Crossing ignored them and looked back at Mark, who was left behind. Seeing that the devouring beast was about to pounce on it, he threw the crowbar in his hand without thinking. The sharp crowbar whistled over with a cold light. Before the devouring beast could pounce on Mark, the flying crowbar pierced into its open bloody mouth and went straight in. The huge impact nailed its huge body to the iron wall. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.